Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
I just want to check something, though. Yeah. You didn't hear me, right? Alex, she's here because the Celtics
Green
won.
teamer number one.
There's always some ulterior motive.
She always comes when it's celebration.
Yeah, when there's something to do with, as she thinks her, she'll...
And he explains step by step why, by the rule, that is not a travel.
Right.
But
he's wrong, is the point. There's a rule book. They're not following that.
I started tearing up a little bit with the Deuce stuff. Like, it's a little moment
not
they
you,
had.
Deuce. Not you.
And then hearing people talk about, like, Tommy. I don't know. I'm emotional. It might be that time of month, but whatever. It's another story.
18 different games, they were over 40% as a team. What do you think, Mike?
No, that sounds about, that's pretty good. I mean,
Is that what you had it calculated
I
as?
would say approximately.
And I think the clear spark for the team was Pritchard.
Yeah.
And then the halftime.
when they were already up by 18. What's the guy, Pereira or whatever his name is with the NFL?
Wayne Pereira.
Mike Pereira.
Mike Pereira.
And as you recall, you were the only live music enjoyer in the room.
That's not true.
What?
It's not the music it's the crowds.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to deal with humanity.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium. We're still in our temporary studios that we'll be in for the next few weeks until our regular studio gets a whole new facelift. I can't wait for that. That's going to be really cool. But it's Evan, it's Paul, it's myself, maybe Tamara later. I'm not sure. Deuce is out. Where is he? It's some hockey tournament.
Cape Cod.
He's on the Cape.
Yes.
He's on the Cape.
You're off Cape.
I'm off Cape, but I'll be back on Cape.
Okay.
But yes, so this is truly the dog days of the NFL right now. This
absolutely.
is really it, right?
Weird.
Although there was some, nationally, I was driving in this morning, a fairly interesting thing. Evidently, NFL Network is claiming that there's a movement afoot to sort of separate salary cap space for quarterbacks.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
It's interesting. I always felt like we were trending towards something along those lines, like the NBA has max contracts, and that's the maximum that you could possibly make is a formula of the cap. I feel like that's...
But it doesn't single out a position.
No.
Yeah.
No, but it does have certain parameters to it that are kind of... You're a superstar.
Yeah,
you're getting
I get it.
I mean...
I'd
like to see the details of it before I say, like, that's stupid or that's the best thing I've ever heard.
Right.
It makes some sense on paper, just sort of talking about it, but...
It also feels like a little bit of a cop-out, right, for those teams. Like, there's so many ways to manipulate the cap that even if you have a quarterback at $50 million, you should still be able to figure out the ways to pay the other guys on the team.
Yeah.
And that's my gut feeling right now, is what Evan just said.
And I think for the guys who are quarterbacks, I think it makes their job a little tougher in terms of being a leader. We already know that you get paid more than me, but now there's a special rule that you can really get paid more than me. So you better be a good leader in order to get all the other players to buy into you.
I think it's different, and unless I mistook the way you said it, I think it's a double advantage for teams with good quarterbacks.
Right. Yes.
Oh, it is? Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily think those quarterbacks are going to make even more now. I think they're going to get these $40 and $50 million annual contracts. But now, like, the drawback to that was, remember when we used to finger wag, Patrick Mahomes will never win anything because he's the highest pay. If you have your quarterback making too much money, well, now you get a double advantage.
Right.
So you have one of the best quarterbacks in football, and you're not affected with the way that you can situate the rest of the team.
Right. You can't use the argument supposedly they made to Brady over the years. That,
Right.
Take a little less so we can spend it to make your surroundings.
Because a lot of people still adhere to that antiquated philosophy that if your quarterback is making X percentage of the cap, you can't win.
Right.
Because it's too hard to do the rest.
Yeah.
Now that's completely eliminated because that quarterback is separate and you can do whatever you want with the rest.
Yeah. So I like
if,
you said,
if they do it like that. But I need to see the details,
I haven't seen the details.
I haven't seen
This is pretty preliminary discussions about it. But I guess the best comp is probably in the MLS they have the designated player for like if you have like a Lionel Messi comes over and plays like those guys don't count the same because then they would take up the entire salary cap if they did. I think it's like 2 guys per team or something like that.
Is it a slippery slope though? Because today's the quarterback. Well, if you're going to do it with the quarterback, wide receiver, you can't have good offense without a wide receiver. So you're allowed to have 1 wide receiver that's exempt. I don't know. And then you got a left tackle. You got
Yeah,
so I don't know.
I get what you're saying, and I do think that there's an element of that. I just think that you should, if you have a cap, I think the cap is sort of fugazi enough to get around. Now you're looking to not only skirt the rules in terms of, prorated deals and, fake money and real money and whatever, but now you're just like blatantly saying, well, we're going to do all those things, and we're going to have one guy that really doesn't count. Because we're going to have a separate quarterback cap for him.
That's how
now
I
you
feel.
could make for the rest of the players, you could make the argument to them so I'm, Goodell, and I'm talking to the NFLPA. I'm saying, listen, if you allow us to do this, that's going to allow teams to spend more on the other positions because the quarterback won't take such a big chunk, of the cap. Yeah. But it still comes down to cash money that the owners are spending.
Yeah, the players will be okay with it as long as the amount of dollars available to them doesn't change.
It actually would go up, wouldn't it?
Potentially. For other positions.
Because you've got the cap number, and then this is excluded from that, so now all that cap number can be spent on the other
I need
positions.
to see how they they do it. But, yeah, in theory, you would think it's not going to be the same cap number, only the quarterback separate.
Right. Well, could, at least maybe half of it. Maybe.
But as long as that number doesn't change for the players, they're going to be in favor of it.
Yeah.
Right. But to Paul's point, it does feel like if you take the quarterback out of it, then you're the Chiefs, the Bengals, like all the Baltimore, like all these teams with MVP caliber quarterbacks. That's a huge advantage for those teams. So I just wonder how you're able to do that. And at the end of the day, all of this is just if the owner is willing to shell out the money, you can basically spend whatever you want to spend because you can move it all around to make the accounting work.
Sure.
So as long as the owners are willing to spend the money, that's why teams in real cash are $100 million over the salary cap some years because the owner's willing to pay for the roster because they're contending for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I feel like pick one. Okay, you have a great quarterback, so that's obviously where you want to be. Like San Francisco. They're on the other side. Like they have a guy, and Evan and I have talked about Brock Purdy ad nauseum. So you have a guy who's just sort of system, so they have a hard time winning it all because they don't have that guy.
Right.
But their advantage is they have a lot of money spread out over the Kittles and the Trent Williams and the Deebo Samuels and the McCaffreys of the world, so they have a stacked roster.
Yep.
They've chosen to do it a different way, the sweet spot, right? A rookie quarterback contract so you can really bulk up the roster. That's how San Francisco does it.
Right.
But now teams can do it the way San Francisco does even if they have the great quarterback.
Right.
So now what do you do? How do you compete with the San Franciscos and the Buffaloes and the Baltimores?
The rich get richer.
If they can spend, Cincinnati, they they have no fear now of losing T. Higgins.
Right.
Yeah.
In theory, because the whole Burrow extension doesn't count.
Yep.
That's separate.
Yep.
So how do you compete with these teams?
Yep.
You have to wait for these guys to all cycle out of the league and do it again?
Go for the knees.
Nice.
That's how you compete. Take the hit.
They don't like getting hit in the knees, Freddie. Those quarterbacks, they don't like to get hit in the knees.
So that's out there. The other thing, this is kind of off topic, and we are in the dog days, so this, we can talk about anything we want. Watching the Red Sox last night, by the way, fun team.
Hey, listen,
fun team.
Listen,
Good
credit
win.
where credit is due. I'm being serious.
Take the brooms out.
5 in a row.
Yeah.
Against
Good
like
teams.
8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't a good team, but the Philly and the Yankees are both good teams.
Legit wins.
But they were
First 2 wins of the season
they were
against winning teams.
They're talking about umps and balls and strikes, and it kind of ties into football because challenges. And they were saying they're talking about being able to challenge 3 strike a game. I think that's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
So they already do it in the minors.
I know they do.
And it works.
Yeah, I don't care. They have the technology to go robotic. They don't need the ump. If you're gonna, if
like
the
this
final
take.
arbiter is going to be this system, then Do it for all of them, and you don't need an ump.
I like this thing.
You don't need the calling balls and strikes if you have the technology. This is ridiculous. Then they have the other thing. Well, have the privy to the pitch comm so they know what pitch is coming. They can kind of be ready for it. And all this technology exists. You don't need the ump back there calling balls and strikes. Instead of getting it right, 3 times, get it right every time.
So I'm genuinely curious. Do you feel this way about tennis?
Yes. I know in the majors they have no more linesmen.
Right.
Lines people.
Yeah.
I love
Good,
it.
Frank.
It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, do you realize how many times before this electronic system that there were arguments during the game, and how many times the player was probably right?
Yeah.
If you have the technology to avoid that, just do it. Just do it. No one's complaining now in tennis about no linesmen.
No, that's absolutely true. We've talked about this a lot.
Except
Right.
the linesman guild. 'Cause they
Right.
all
Yeah.
Hey,
Find
what about
something else.
Yeah.
No one. I haven't heard one complaint. The complaint I hear is, why don't the lower levels, and I don't want to get into the minutia, the 250s and all that, why don't they have it? Like the French Open didn't have it this year.
Oh, wow.
But I heard next year they will. They're going to adopt it. I'm sure it costs a lot more
That's
money.
clay, though, right? So you can see the.
It's a little tougher on clay because the dirt gets all around and the
okay.
chalk's everywhere. But it doesn't matter what the physical line you see. It's a laser. It doesn't matter how the line moves.
Well,
It's a
so the one
laser.
question I
It
have
doesn't
is,
matter, what I mean? Like if the
Yeah,
line
yeah.
gets
No.
messy, it doesn't matter.
Because it's
That's
still going to read
Right.
electronically.
right.
So my question with the robot umpires, and so I've seen it in the minors, and it's within seconds that they can tell you if it was a ball or a strike.
Right.
So it's not like it's going to prolong the game.
No.
So that's good. But with the robot umpires, every batter is a different height, right?
Well,
and
but-
so it's got to be
Before the season, Evan Lazar
Yeah.
gets measured.
right, because I used to
And-
squat
and-
down
and-
like
right.
this.
So
'cause I was
when
always
Evan
short.
Lazar gets up,
Yeah.
the system knows it's him and it adjusts to your measurement.
So
'Cause if I have to hit like Aaron Judge's, strike zone,
like
I'm
that
gonna be in
strike zone
trouble.
is different.
and
Yeah.
that's my issue with the robot umpires because we've been watching games on Nesson for a long time now with the pitch zone, as Jerry Remy used to call it,
Yeah.
the Amiker
Yeah.
pitch zone. I don't think every ball that hits that rectangle is a strike,
Well,
but that's what it will be if you have robot umpires.
well, they have that. You see it like with you said, the square and it touches it. But then they have that other 3D model
Right.
that you see. That's the one you go by.
But what I'm saying is, in my view, and this is just me, like people
Yeah.
can absolutely, smart people can disagree about the same thing. I don't think that like a pitch that's here and a pitch that's here to the same batter is a strike. But the the 3D thing, I
Right.
just
No, they'll have
it's
to.
I just think that's an awful lot of plate to cover.
They'll have
for,
to
for a,
like
a
they
hitter.
talked about. If they do the robo, they'll have to make the strike zone a little smaller. But I say you have the technology to have custom strike zones for every player before the season.
Yeah, no,
when
I
you get
get
your,
what you're saying.
When you get your headshot, before the season at media day, you also get measured for your strike zone.
So I also think the pitchers will pitch to that. Like if I don't have to rely on the guy giving me the corner. All I got to do is touch that spot,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
going to get picked
well,
up.
you might have to.
Why would you ever throw a ball anywhere near the plate?
Right.
Right.
You might have to make it the complete strike zone a little smaller overall because, like you said, of
It's
those
big.
it's-
Like the Amica pitch zone, and also I'm
Yeah.
not making a joke. It's a big strike zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they say that especially at the top of the strike zone
Yes.
is going to be the biggest.
that's going to be the one
because
it's tough.
especially nowadays with these guys that throw 98 like consistently can just go out there and throw that hard. It's
Yeah,
you can't touch it.
but
Up
Where
there.
do you fall on just the technology in general? Do you want more of it or less?
I say wherever it can be 100% accurate.
Like I
more
think
of
in
it.
tennis, it makes
Yeah.
all the sense in the world for the reasons you just
Well,
explained.
let's go back to football. They said for spotting the ball.
That's coming.
That's one where I can see where I know there's a chip in the ball, but the chip has to be talking to something.
Right.
And with all the humanity, how are you going to be?
To me, spotting the
especially-
ball isn't a laser issue.
Right.
Spotting the ball is where did the referee deem his progress stopped,
Right.
or his knee down.
That's a
where
tough
was
one.
the ball?
You know.
Like we'll go back to Evan because he's the all-around athlete. He's like Jim Thorpe today. when Evans carrying the ball and he gets tackled and his knees go down and then he falls forward like this, well, he's way down back here. The laser's going to read it up wherever the ball is.
Yeah.
So I don't think that solves because I do think spotting the ball in the NFL is a low-key, humongous problem.
Well,
they do never. You watch replays and they never get it right.
Well, what's going to see? There has to be something manual because, like you said, Paul, it has to be where the progress stopped. So at the split second where progress starts, somebody has to hit a button, and wherever the ball was at that time, that's where it gets spotted.
But who's doing that?
That's the question. I don't know.
Right.
I would assume that
it's hard.
It's
Yeah.
probably
I think it's a hard thing
they're
to do.
somehow going to tie it to the whistle of the ref, right? Like that's, I think pressing.
Yeah, but
a
the
button
whistle
could be
from the
tough.
ref happens seconds afterwards, and then the ball's
That's true.
moved since that time. You
Yeah.
know? That's to me that's a tough one. Baseball's easy. Tennis is easy to me. The football one is a tough one.
I agree,
Yeah.
Freddie.
I think that's why we haven't had it so far.
Yeah.
But that is the chain gang is going away. Like they have technology that they claim.
Now
is,
that I think you can do away with. You don't
Yeah.
have to have a chain. And,
Right.
if
There's a lot of
If one of
70-year-old
them-
guys that are going to be upset about
if there's
that.
one of them
100%.
that's kinked in the wrong way, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden that you have the technology to make it exactly 10 yards with a laser,
right.
do it.
Yeah.
I just don't think the spotting of the ball thing just magically goes away with
Yeah.
technology.
I also wonder with robot umpires, they would still have to have a game management umpire, right? Like there would still have
You
to
have
be.
to have something.
Oh yeah,
right?
when
They
the
have
fight
to-
breaks out, you got to
or mound visits,
Yeah.
like that like they still have to have somebody that's making sure the game is moving.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
So-
are we gonna just put everything over to technology, like fair or foul, safe or out?
I think anything that can be done accurately, 99.9% of the time, why not? Why not? At the end of the day, when you do a review, you're relying on the technology. So you're saying that the technology is the final arbiter. So then use it all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, let's just.
I go the other way,
Well,
but
You don't want any ups. Just call your own foul.
I just have seen too many examples where they, quote, just want to get it right and they don't.
Yeah.
So why have it?
Yeah.
I would rather have it not feel like I got screwed by someone's,
Yeah.
stubbornness to overturn a call.
Yeah.
I
But
would rather, it just took place. It was on the field, and humans
Yeah.
are playing, humans are officiating, and
But
they
with-
missed a call. What are you going to do? I'm going to be mad.
Yeah.
But
But with balls and strikes, there's nothing to review. It is what it is. It's like in tennis. There's no human.
again,
Yeah.
if you're operating under everything here is a strike,
Right.
I don't think that's
No,
the way
it has to
is.
be custom to the player, because they tell you that the strike it used to be from the knees to the chest or the armpits.
Yeah.
a little lower.
Well, when I stand up, my armpits are a lot lower than Aaron Judge's. So it has to be a custom strike zone for every player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem really with balls and strikes, but I do
Oh,
think,
I do.
No, I'm saying if you wanted to go to robo umps.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the umps struggle, although
I-
Angel Hernandez retired, so it's a little better now.
Yeah.
And the timing of that was
Very
very
curious.
questionable. Yeah. But no, I get really frustrated watching the game.
Yes,
and
no, I
my-
agree. No,
my
it's a
pitcher
problem.
just ended the inning, and it should be over. And
Oh,
it's,
Fred, you would have loved watching me pitch.
yeah.
Well,
But the Red Sox.
I just gave up
sneaky
7
fun-
runs because you missed that call 8 batters ago.
Sneaky fun team.
Yeah, it really is.
I'll say it again, twice in 20 minutes.
yeah.
Fair is fair.
You're eating crow.
So
you beat the Phillies and you beat the Yankees. I said you hadn't beaten anybody of any value.
Yeah.
Those are 2 of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah. So to be realistic, is it sustainable?
No.
And if you get up to that deadline, are the owners going to say we're
No.
a good team?
No, I think you
That
get.
part
Oh,
definitely no.
I think even if they sustain it to the deadline, they won't spend on it.
Yeah.
No.
See, that's the problem.
Which will, in the same
Yeah.
thing will happen as has happened the last couple of years. See, that's the thing that people aren't really considering is they're playing like they've played the last 2 years.
yeah.
They win
Streaky.
3 in a row, they lose 5. They, they're plus or minus 5,
And this is-
500.
yeah.
Now, right now they're in a hot. I think they've won 8 out of 10 or something
Yeah.
like that. They're in a hot streak right now. They're playing very well. They're running all over the place. I just don't think like David Hamilton's a good Major League Baseball player. All of a sudden he's getting 3 hits and 4 steals every game.
Yeah.
I don't think that's sustainable.
The pitching might
You
be
know?
sustainable. The pitching staff has been pretty good.
Yeah.
They've been really good. I don't think that's sustainable either.
Well, I don't know if the whole staff is going to throw this well, but how
Tanner Houck will.
and
I think Tanner
Bayo
Houck has
are
turned
both
I think
solid.
Tanner Houck has absolutely turned the corner.
Yeah, Tanner Houck and Bayo are good.
Yeah,
Kenley's
I'm not so sure about Bayo.
Kenley's been really good out of the bullpen. lately.
I worry about him though.
Well, he's going to go.
He's probably going to get traded.
He's going to get traded in probably like 3 weeks.
The problem with baseball is that, and I'm making fun of my own people, but the nerds have those projections, the win-loss projections, and the nerds are going to be on Paul's side of things where they're going to say it's not sustainable because we projected in the beginning of the season we're an 80-win baseball team. So at some point, we're going to come back down to earth,
frustrates me.
and we're going to get back to 80 wins. So the nerds are going to tell John Henry, don't buy at the deadline because this isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
Right.
And that would bother me. Like, I can be as stubborn as anybody, as you know. If they play like this for another couple of weeks, I would absolutely be looking to add to this team and say, hey, we can get in.
Right.
You know?
Now they're 1 game out.
Yeah.
You know, we can get into the, I don't really care. I mean, I think it's embarrassing if you don't make the playoffs in Major League Baseball at this point. But if they're in contention and they're continuing to play for like 3 weeks, playing close to 600, 550, 600 ball, they should be adding. And that would frustrate me if they don't. So even though I think that they will regress, I think that's just been the pattern that they've had for 3 years now.
I agree.
They're going to win a few, they're going to lose a few. They're going to win some good, I mean, this is like a week and a half ago they split a 4-game series with Chicago.
Right.
Who's the worst team in, on paper, the worst team in history of baseball.
Yeah.
So, they turned, to their credit, they sort of licked their wounds from that and they responded. But the Phillies and Yankees series, I'll admit, flat out, I didn't see that coming.
The wild card teams have gotten hot the last couple years in the playoffs, though.
Yep, that's why I said if you
Phillies,
get in, you get in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks went to the World Series last year.
Oh yeah, them too.
So we're touching on all, and I see the emails coming in, all different topics. So this would be a good show.
If you ask me what I really think is going to happen, I'm going to say that like Texas and Houston is one of those two will get their heads out of their asses and start playing well.
Yeah.
So it should be a good show with all the various topics that are coming on. But Celtics, do you have a problem with them going to Miami to have a party?
No.
Like that seemed to be a big topic. Like, why can't they do it in Boston?
I need to know more information.
Yeah.
Like, because I know that they probably wanted to have the parade yesterday, but that's the Juneteenth holiday, so I'm sure that they said
it was also 100 degrees in downtown Boston.
Yeah, but
right.
you didn't know that at the time.
Right.
Anyway.
So, but my guess is that's a big ask for the whole team to stay in town for the whole week to get to Friday, to Evan's point, because today is also 98 degrees.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a little bit more comfortable tomorrow, so I think they wanted to wait till Friday, and I wonder if they said, how about if we put you on a plane to send you guys down to South Beach for a night?
Yeah.
And you guys come back up, you stay for the parade, as opposed to, why don't you guys sit tight for the whole week and then we'll have the parade on Friday? I wonder if they were throwing them a bone.
I think like, I don't know if there's a certain Celtic that has an investment in a club down there.
Oh, that could be too.
That maybe they went down.
Sounds
just
like
to
you
be
might. Sounds like you might be.
No.
You get something on your Apple Watch there, like Tony Mass.
I also, I heard the argument where, well, you can't do that in Boston because wherever they go, they're going to be swamped. If you go to Miami, you're just another bunch of guys in a club, because everybody down there is a celebrity.
But
I don't buy that.
Yeah, I don't either, because I think you go wherever they're going to go to a private area.
Yeah. Well, first of all, just off the top, they just won the city a championship. Go party wherever the heck you want to party.
Yeah.
But second of all, there's, whether we like it or not, in the NBA, there's 3 or 4 places that the players just love going.
Oh, yeah.
Miami, Atlanta, Los Angeles, obviously.
Sure.
And anytime they get an excuse to go to Vegas, right? Yeah. Like any of those places are just
because there's stuff to do. I mean, let's face it. These guys aren't baseball players or hockey players. They walk into a room, oh my God.
Yeah.
They get noticed. And so it's tougher for them, to blend in.
Yeah, I just think it's a private. I think Evans got it. I mean, this is where they want to party.
Yeah.
They're standing out in Miami too.
Yeah.
They just love it.
But those places cater the celebrities better. They know how to handle celebrities.
I was surprised
I think if they went to the
Vegas.
Encore, they know how to handle celebrities.
Oh, yeah,
that's
no.
where
But
they normally. That's where they normally
That's the
go.
only place that
in the Seaport.
they name because that's the only place to go.
Not that I stalked them.
Yeah.
No, I understand why some people would be put off by them going down to Miami, but if they just won a championship.
People in Boston, we're a little sensitive. Well, Boston's not good enough for you.
See, I find me.
Not
I find
in this department.
That's
no.
what I'm saying.
I don't get. I don't know why, as a fan, you'd be offended that they went to Miami. I don't get it. You know me. I can find fault with anything if you challenge me.
Yeah.
enough.
Like if you put them on a boat and sent them to the Caribbean, like I don't think people would. It's like another town in the United States. One of our, they're in the same division. We're going to go to their place.
Well, Joe Mazzulla was in the North End last night.
I know, walking around with the
Larry
trophies.
O'Brien.
Supposedly Big Al's going to be.
I was this close
somewhere.
to getting in my car. We're about 5 minutes from the North
Well,
End.
those pictures, I was looking for you in the background.
I was so
even
close.
looked in the reflection of the trophy to see if you were there.
I was
Yeah.
very close, but that was cool. Those are always cool moments.
And you are going to the parade tomorrow. aren't you?
Oh,
Do
definitely.
you think that's in or out of character for Joe Mazzulla to do what he did?
out of character a little bit?
Yeah.
But I think he's a whole different person now.
Yeah.
You can tell. Like, he's done a bunch of podcasts since then that I've listened to. He's on with the Part of My Take guys, which he was before they won the championship too. But he's a made man now, and you can tell that he's acting that way. But those moments when that's so cool. Like, you're out to dinner in the North End with your family, and all of a sudden Joe Mazzulla walks by with the Larry O'Brien trophy. Like, that's
What's up, Joe?
that's what makes the city different, I feel like, than some of the other places.
855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. Like I said, everything's on the table today. It's the dog days of the NFL. All the players and coaches are off doing their own thing. Although I think rookies are here. They're still.
That's what Drake May said at
Yeah.
the end of minicamp, that they would be here for another couple of weeks.
But it's a time for everybody to re-energize. Fill the tank up again. So, during this time on this show, we've always talked about some of the best topics have come during
Everything.
this time.
Yeah. Anything's on the table.
So web radio at patriots.com, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace
week
Ticket
of June.
Hotline. Let's get right into what we got to get some food though, Paul.
Did you not order?
No.
Oh,
Did you?
You told me to.
Oh.
So I sent Matt
I took
a
care of you,
text.
Fred.
Oh, what'd you get me?
Chicken fingers, honey mustard.
Great, thank you. And you're coming in loud and clear, by the way.
Some tendies. I got some tendies
Yeah.
too.
Okay, good.
Oh, good. All right.
Lindsay writes in, medium-time listener, started summer 2020, first-time emailer, ding, ding. Given it's now the off-season, figures time we revisit the topic of laundry machines.
Oh.
Do you know what this topic's all about?
Nope, but
Okay,
I'm
you're
about
gonna
to
find out. We just bought our first house and are looking at laundry units. As I keep reading Consumer Reports and other analysis, the brand Speed Queen comes up.
I do remember this.
It's being mentioned as an expensive but trustworthy model. Not that expensive. In my head, when I read these, all I can hear is Fred admitting they're a little tough on the clothes, but they last forever. And can't help but laugh to myself. Will this use of myself piss off the grammar police guy? Grammar was never my strong suit. Hope the email sparks a renewed laundry machine debate this off-season. Thanks again for the great coverage. These shows get me through my greater Boston commutes. Fred, in the off-season, instead of canceling Wednesday shows, maybe they become Deuce and the Kids shows?
Oh.
Anyway, Speed Queen is, I got turned on to those years ago.
Not Whirlpool.
I went into this small appliance store in Foxborough, actually, because I was in the market for a washer and dryer, and they had, the LG and the Samsung, and I was looking at those, and he's like, have you looked at the Speed Queen? And I had never heard of it. And
I have to admit, I had never heard of Speed
Yeah.
Queen until you said it. Now I'm like the emailer. I see it all the time.
maybe now they have more fancy models, but usually, back then it was, normal settings, made in USA, steel drum instead of the plastic. And he said they'll last forever, and I've been hooked ever since. Speed Queen.
They have
So when you go
crazy
into the
ones
laundry
now.
mats, they use Speed Queen
Oh, okay.
because that's, yeah.
And that's why I don't. Because I think that's what it's made for. It's like industrial
Industrial, yeah. There's some crazy ones
use.
now.
He says it's hard on the clothes.
Well, that's because they're yeah. They have ones that are like it's one machine now.
Oh, yeah.
It drains itself, and
Yeah.
then it switches, or the ones that are connected that the clothes can just fall from the washer on
I
top
haven't
to
seen
the.
I hadn't
that.
seen that.
Yeah.
So the stacked model for apartment dwellers.
Correct.
I've seen a lot of the stacked models, but I
Yeah.
have never seen one that it actually falls out
Yeah.
of the.
That's interesting.
Right
and
into
and
the
I've
dryer.
seen the one where it's one unit, it washes and dries in the same
Yes.
Yeah.
But some of the eco ones, some of these new apartment buildings in the city have these like eco-friendly ones.
Yeah.
And they take a long time,
Oh.
because it's not
imagine.
it's not as much energy.
No power.
obviously. Yeah,
It
so
doesn't
like
work as
to
well.
dry clothes in one of those things can take
Oh, then you're
a
using
long
more
time.
electricity.
It's
How is
I
that
don't
eco-friendly?
understand. Yeah, I don't get it either.
Anyway, I would suggest if you're looking, do look at the Speed Queen. The whole expensive thing is that was kind of the argument that I bought is it wasn't as expensive.
Yeah, but your version of not expensive and the emailer and my version.
I'm comparing
two entirely
I'm
different
comparing
things.
it to the LGs and the Samsung. Now, admittedly, mine doesn't have all the bells and whistles that you would get with those, but it's just my wife and I. And when my son comes down, he brings his laundry. But so it's not a big family. And I would say if you have a big family and you need all those bells and whistles, you might want to look at not Speed Queen. But now they probably have models that have it.
What do you have in terms of your yard equipment now? Because I know you have that Mance down down on Cape.
Yeah.
Do you have a ride-on mower?
No.
So do you have a regular push mower, or do you get?
I have a
landscape?
self-propelled mower, but it sucks. I got it from Lowe's.
Is it gas or
Gas,
is it okay?
yeah.
So I just bought a new one this
Yeah.
year, and I was kind of looking at some of the electric ones.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a huge yard.
Right.
But it takes some time or whatever, and I'm looking at it. He's like, when you cut your grass, like roughly how long does it take? I said, I don't know, like 45 minutes. And he goes, I can't in good conscience sell you one of these.
Really, the battery doesn't last
Yeah,
that long?
they claim it's an hour. He goes, it's not an hour. It won't last an hour.
Wow.
He goes, and I can't in good conscience sell you one.
Oh.
Now I'm opening the door because you know what's going to happen now. We will be inundated, much like the 17 people that had to tell me that wasn't a travel the other day.
Yeah.
Right? And I warned you. I said if you do this, we're going to get killed. You and
I love that.
I watched it. It's a travel.
You don't care,
Right.
which is I applaud. I'm just looking at it. It's like I knew this was going to happen. I had like 18 people tell me why that wasn't a travel, and I go back and I look at the rule book and I'm like, it's the definition of a travel. It says it right there.
Right.
They've not changed it. It's not like the NFL, where they put out the rule book and then the amendments to the rules every year.
Right.
They've never changed it. They just decided, and I actually think, believe it or not, that it was a positive step, no pun intended, to be a little bit more lenient with that. Showcase the athleticism, let the players play. I don't think it's a good thing to have.
Julius Erving didn't need it.
That's true, but I don't think that it's a good thing to let guys just run. Like I told you, that it's the whole, like, you do one or the other.
Right.
You take 2 steps and come to a jump stop and then do something, but you can't take 2 steps, come to a jump stop, and then step through and lay it in.
Yeah.
And that's legal.
Yeah.
I've seen it 9,000 times this year, and I haven't seen it called traveling once. So clearly Evan's right. That's the way they call it now. But this is why I warned you.
Back in my day.
This is why I warned you. Do not do this because the green teamers will kill you.
But back to the lawnmowers.
Back to lawnmowers.
If you're looking for a push or a self-propelled push, well, Turo is probably the best now. But if you can get your hands on a 2023 Honda, they'll last
Civic?
forever. They're good. But I think Honda's going to stop making lawnmowers.
Yeah, I have a Toro and I've had a Honda, and they're both outstanding.
Yeah.
What, are we going to get
My
to
last one lasted like 12 years.
Is Tesla going to make like a fully electric one at some point? Like, are we going to get in the
Oh,
into
you
the
mean without
weeds?
having to touch it?
Yeah, like a Prius. That's a,
Yeah,
Well,
they do
those.
have battery ones.
Yeah.
Like just like your car. You charge the battery and but like I said,
it doesn't last.
I don't know
Do they
if
have
that's
Roombas
just
yet?
And they have
that just go
and they
out
have
and
the
do
ones
it?
that you set up your zone.
Right, like
but
a Roomba.
None of them really get good reviews.
Yeah.
They're spotty.
I don't think we had a Roomba. The dog's afraid of it, so we don't use it. But
Listen,
it's I don't know.
Listen, I think one of the best things a man can do is mow his own lawn. There's
I
a
kind of like
feeling.
it.
First of all, it's your property, so it's your kingdom. And then when you mow the lawn, there's that satisfaction when you're done. You look over.
When you're drinking the beer and you're looking at the lawn,
looks good.
It looks good.
And this is mine, and I just did that. I think there's a satisfaction to that.
it's like putting together IKEA furniture.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
I was up early cutting down trees.
Soft hands, city hands.
But I think
I definitely
I think lawn work, yard work is important
Get
part
your hands dirty.
of being a man. Look, home ownership is something we all try to be. There's a lot of people that, young people who are trying to own their first home. I think that's a big deal. And once you own that home,
Good luck.
taking care of it, I think is part of manhood.
Good luck.
And
owning
there is a
home, man.
pride in making sure that everything looks
Yeah.
as good as it can.
Inside and out. Yeah.
I had this conversation with my parents on Father's Day, where home to purchase a home in the Boston area right now for us is pretty outrageous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and my mom was like, "Well, it's good for us because
Right.
everybody 60 plus is selling their houses for
Yeah, but you got to move
huge
somewhere.
returns
though.
on
So,
investment."
I guess if you downsize, it's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
but it's tough out there in the streets.
Hey,
for
I,
us.
I spent the day yesterday on a ladder reglazing windows. So
I love that.
yeah, and when I'm done, I feel like okay, I did that. Sense of accomplishment.
You don't feel that way about putting together furniture or like
IKEA?
or Wayfair or whatever.
I've done all that, but it's not the same as your property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cut the grass, you crack open a beer, you stare at how straight those lines are.
That's
and
right.
it's a great day.
That's right. Absolutely.
Morel.
Or
Couldn't have said it.
Or
better.
you plant a bed of flowers, and in a few months it looks great, and you're like, I did that with my hands.
Do you plant like food or just
No,
just
no, that's too much for me.
just for show?
Just for show,
Got
just
it.
to make your property look good.
What kind of flowers?
All kinds.
All kinds.
Yeah. Although I'm having trouble with the lavender. I
no.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. So
Paul,
I'm just like, I'm having trouble with the lavender.
what about dishwashers? Any favorites?
Whirlpool.
Whirlpool.
I don't know. That's
You
just
know
what we
what?
have.
I don't know what kind of dishwasher I just.
I use
Like I have a Maytag washing machine. I know that, and it's really good.
I use a Bosch, and I bought it because of its quietness, and it is quiet. You don't even know
I
it's
thought it
running.
was your affinity for Chris.
Yeah. No. But we can talk appliances if people want. John
Appliances are on the table.
John writes in. He says the Jersey Mike's just opened up in my town.
Nice.
Was wondering what are your go-to subs that I can try? I'll call in during the week and let you know how it went. P.S. Deuce, can I still call in with the Bayou jokes even though Hardy will be gone?
Yes, you can.
John is in Louisiana.
I just have to say about Jersey Mike's. I got to put this out there because I know he's going to try Jersey Mike's and he's going to call in and tell me that I hyped it up too much. You got to understand what Jersey Mike's is, okay? Jersey Mike's is just a solid, consistent sub.
Chain.
Nobody is
Sub
telling
shop.
you that it's the greatest sandwich that you ever had. So keep that in mind.
It's not to be confused with some local place
Correct.
that you've gone to, whatever.
Right.
But you can go to a Jersey Mike's anywhere around, and you're going to get a solid sub. Number 13 would be my recommendation.
Although the service
Classic
might
Italian.
be inconsistent.
Gotta
Yeah, that's
order
why
it.
you got to order on the
Mobile
app.
Yeah. I think any was 13.
Classic Italian.
Classic Italian. Yeah. I like the
43,
turkey.
the Chipotle steak and cheese.
Number
is pretty good,
13
too.
is one of my go-tos, and the steak and cheeses are good too.
Yeah, the Chipotle cheesesteak is the best
Yeah.
steak and cheese one, I think.
Chipotle.
Yeah,
it's number 43.
Chipotle mayo.
Oh,
A little spicy
It's
okay.
good.
mayo. It's good.
It's good. You add bacon when you're particularly fat.
Bacon on the cheesesteak?
Oh,
Ooh,
God.
people in Philadelphia are
it's terrific.
ah,
And the Chipotle
Right.
mayo is good too. Evans, right?
very good.
That's the one I get.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Um,
Usually I make it a chicken just to be a little healthier.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't really.
chicken cheesesteak?
I don't try to fool anyone.
Listen,
I'm a chicken cheesesteak
then
guy.
go get something else. Like if you're worried about that, then get another sandwich.
It just makes me feel a little bit
It's
better.
like the guy that eats the pizza. And he
Right.
takes the paper towels out.
Oh yeah,
I'm
and
not
takes
Got to
off the
sop
grease.
it out. And I'm like,
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
if you care that much,
Right. Don't
probably
get
not a great
pizza.
choice.
that.
Right.
I'm not that bad, but little decisions, like instead of the beef, I'll get the chicken, and it tastes great still.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
all.
whatever.
I don't need to do that.
Grant in Minnesota might be a dumb topic to debate.
Probably
not
is.
today. Not today. But watching Gronk, Edelman, and Welker up there got me. I guess he meant the Hall of Fame induction. Thinking about which one of them will get into the Patriots Hall of Fame first. If you guys could do a somewhat in-depth analysis of when they're eligible and who they're going up against when they are, that could be fun. Could Welker take long enough that he has to go up against Gronk and Jules?
I'll tell you
Well,
who'll be
Welker's
last.
already eligible.
Welker will be last.
Yeah.
I can't even get him on the finalist ballot.
I know.
The next 10 to 15-ish years of Patriots Hall of Famers is going to be fun and interesting for the fans.
Did Edelman and Gronk retire the same year?
No, I think Gronk went back for one more year in Tampa, right?
Okay, so Edelman will get in first.
So
Then
Edelman was
Gronk.
2020.
But Welker's eligible now.
Welker's been
Yeah,
eligible for the
for
last 2
years.
years.
And who's he going? Well, this year they're not going to do it because of the Brady thing.
Right.
But next year, who would he be going up
I don't
against?
care. like they don't want to put him on
Logan
the ballot.
Mankins.
Like I keep voting him.
Well, no, but it's not that they don't want to put him on the ballot. It's just who he's going up against.
Yeah, and I think he vastly outperforms the guys that are on
I
the
agree.
finalist
I
ballot.
agree.
Like, so I don't think he's getting it. I don't think it's going to just be a slam dunk. In other words,
No, but I think he'll get in eventually.
I'm not so sure.
Maybe if there's a dry spell because of the current state.
Welker
of
or Randy
things.
Moss? Who would you put in?
Welker.
I agree.
Yeah. Welker should be in.
Yeah, Moss has never even gotten really a sniff.
No.
I was thinking about that, the reception, and I was going back to that 07 year. So Brady had 50 touchdown passes. At that time, a new record.
Yep.
Moss had 23 of them.
Half of them.
Right.
And
That
Gronk
was-
had 17, right?
Not that year.
No. 20,
Oh, not that year?
2011.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Moss had 23, and the rest were kind of spread out among a lot of
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Welker had 8.
Sounds about
If
right.
that makes sense.
No, but well, I mean,
But yeah, Gronk wasn't on the 07.
I believe Logan Mankins came in second to Vrabel, if I remember correctly, last year.
Okay.
So he would be you would think.
You would think.
And not to get into the whole thing, but it is the off season. They keep putting Bill Parcells on the ballot, and it's like, can we stop with that?
I agree with that.
Like it's not just because whether you think he should be in or not. He's had his chance to try to get him in.
Yeah, so here's the problem.
Over
and
over.
And this is what's going on now. So a lot of my colleagues are very sensitive.
Yeah.
So you get criticized when you're part of that committee. Oh, it's embarrassing that you won't put Bill Parcells in, and then you counter with, we've made him a finalist, I believe, 6 times now. At least 5.
Yeah.
So it's not our fault that he's not in. They're not voting for him once he's one of the 3
fans aren't
finalists.
voting for him.
Right.
So it's now like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, I'm not going to let Dan Shaughnessy make fun of me. I'm going to vote Parcells as one of my 3 guys.
Right.
One of my 3 finalist nominees.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now, I'm sure a lot of people that vote for him believe that he should be one of the 3 finalists.
Yep.
Now, last year, I think, was Welker, Mankins, and Vrabel. I didn't have Parcells as one of my 3. If I'm thinking,
Right.
if I'm remembering the right year, I don't think I had Parcells last year.
Right.
But that's what I think happens is these guys see Dan Shaughnessy make fun of the polo shirt wearing, the cartel, which I'm proudly a member. I'm in the cartel. I don't really care what Dan Shaughnessy. I like Dan. I think he's the best columnist by far in the city. He's had a wonderful career, but I don't really care that he makes fun of me. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
And I make fun of myself to him.
Yeah.
I actually joke with him when I see him all the time. I go, "Don't have the polo on today, Dan," and he laughs.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a good fun. But I think some of the guys take offense to that, and they go in there and they bend over backwards to make sure that no one's going to tell me I'm not being fair to
But
Bill
he's just,
Parcells.
like you said, he's had 5 or 6 chances.
They must hate me.
The fans are never going to vote for
They
him.
must
not
hate
going
me
in.
because I'm the head of the Parcells can't be in the team Hall of Fame. I've made the case against him
I respect that.
in
take
the
a
room
lot.
in front of people.
Yeah, I mean you're right. But
You're ill-informed, but what are you going to do?
No, it's fine, but that's my opinion.
it's 2 against
I
1.
think he's the second best coach this team has ever had. I agree with the drafting. He did great things, but he also did bad things to the team. And when that happens, you can't put him in a team Hall of Fame.
I just don't really feel like he had the longevity either. Like he was only the coach here for 4 years.
Yeah.
So like if he was here for 10 and was mostly good,
Then it would be different.
I'd feel differently.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even that long, and I also just feel in general, outside of the Bill Belichicks of the world, it should be mostly for the players.
See, I feel like that.
Right now,
I think there should be a whole separate thing. We shouldn't vote on coaches and contributors at all.
right.
Well,
That
we
should
don't
be-
vote on contributors.
That should be all separate.
Right, but
Yeah.
like Bill will go. Like I'm assuming Mr. Kraft's going to just put Bill in like he did with Tom, when that time comes.
Oh,
Probably.
Bill Belichick. You mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll take care of itself. But he just put
I
Dante
wouldn't be
in.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if one of Robert's, last wishes is also putting Parcells in. I would.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does that.
Because
Rubber stamps that.
that's the other thing in that room. Everyone thinks that he's not in because Kraft doesn't want him in, Parcells. That is
But
that
part
is
of what I'm
not
talking about
true.
with Dan.
Yeah.
And Dan writes it all the time.
But I know, but it's
not true.
It's not true.
See, because Dan takes it the next step. He thinks, yeah, they put it out there,
But
and then
it's-
they doctor the vote.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's not. Believe
No.
me. Like
No.
if we got 100 people voting right now, I would say 80 of them minimum would say he shouldn't be in.
And because they're right.
And I
'Cause
honestly,
they're petty,
I honestly
you.
thought
I'm not petty.
like you,
Why am I petty?
because you're not recognizing what he did for
I
the,
just
for
said
the
I
organization.
recognize, but I also
He saved them.
But I also no, he didn't. I
Okay.
also if he was the coach and Kraft hadn't bought the team, he'd be coaching in St. Louis. He didn't save them. That's a fact.
I'm talking about where they were.
I know.
He gave them
He gave
legitimacy.
him credibility.
And
He
I put my other
drafted
guy
well.
right next to him.
I just said
My guy.
I give him credit for all the good things he did and the good coach that he is. But I also acknowledge the things he did to hurt the organization. And I think when you do that, you don't deserve to be in the team's Hall of Fame.
Like what?
Put him in Canton.
he's already in camp.
From the day that Kraft bought that team, Parcells gave him a hard time, saying that '94 season, I don't know if I want to coach anymore. Like Kraft had to basically say, beg him to come back. And every year, I don't know if I want to be back. He was a hard guy to deal with. And then what he did,
I would agree with that. He's
And-
a hard guy to
and then-
deal with.
and then what
but
he
I don't
did
see
at the
anything that's
end,
so damaging.
with the Jets and everything. Like he went to our bitter rival and was dealing
Why?
with them during the Super Bowl. Oh, because he could, because one time,
Because he got his power
because
taken
one time
away.
Kraft sided with his personnel department.
But I mean, don't make it out to be that it just came out of nowhere. He just decided
no,
I'm
I
going to
know.
go to the Jets
but
leave.
he's such a. You call
He's
me
a
pet.
baby.
He's a baby.
He is. Absolutely. He's
wanna
a hard
give-
guy to deal with.
We want to give him credit for
Absolutely.
all these great draft picks, which we should, and then the one draft pick that he couldn't, I don't have to.
Go back and look what he wanted to do and look what they did. And you tell me what was better.
If you want to, have me cook the dinner, let me buy the groceries. Okay, well, we're giving you credit for all these groceries you bought. One time, you weren't able to do it, and now I'm leaving. Yeah, come on.
We don't need to relitigate this.
Well,
No, but
we know how you feel. Everybody knows how I feel.
yeah,
Your guy.
And I would say
deserves more
80
credit.
plus % would agree with you and Evan.
Yeah.
Your guy deserves more credit. Drew's the reason why the team became.
Well,
relevant.
I'll tell you one thing that I take a lot of offense to. That this is the house that Brady built. This is the house that Drew built.
no.
He just never got to perform it.
Yeah.
This is how that Kraft built.
And you don't do it if you didn't have that draft pick. Because if you just continued to go 3-13 every
Yeah.
year, they wouldn't have built this place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's the one that lent the franchise on-field legitimacy.
Well, I think eventually he would have built a new stadium. You had to. That thing was
Dump.
it was more than a dump. I mean, literally, there were high school fields in Texas better than Foxborough Stadium.
High school seems probably in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I mean, it was awful. It was awful.
It was a bad place.
You had to build a new stadium.
But at this point, can we just
Yeah.
retire him on the ballot? Like Bill Parcells is not getting voted by the fans into the Hall of Fame, and what it does is it prevents Wes Welker from being on the ballot or guys that are actually,
Yep.
let's put some new names out there of guys that could. Get
I thought
in.
I was being punked last year when they told me that Welker wasn't one of the finalists.
Yeah,
That's how sure I was.
I mean has still his single season receiving yards record, I believe, and second all time in career receiving yards.
I mean, I remember when we played that Super Bowl in Atlanta, and we had that big room that we were all in, and we started talking about the Edelman versus Welker comparison.
Awesome.
And, certain people were, well, Edelman's better. Look at what he did in the playoffs. And then we brought out the numbers.
Andy.
Yeah.
This was a big
and
Andy.
these people, wow. They didn't realize the numbers that Welker had.
oh yeah,
I mean, it was phenomenal.
And like for some reason, not for some reason, we all know the reason, but like the Super Bowl that they lost, the perfect season. You know what Welker had in that Super Bowl?
yeah, he's the best player.
10 for $120 or something like
Yeah.
that. Like this whole notion that he's a choker because he didn't catch one pass.
Right.
And it was
Like-
would have been a pretty great catch if he
And
had.
you want,
got it.
Dante talks about every quarterback needs his binky.
Yeah.
He was the binky for Brady. I mean, Moss was great and all that stuff, but when it came to like third down, you needed 5 yards. It was Wes Welker time and time again. It's not just the total numbers; it's It's the catches for first downs. The third down catches. Like he was so consistent.
And this is not like every time you make a comparison,
Right.
it automatically deteriorrates.
Right. Edelman was
Edelman
great
is
too.
every bit as deserving of the spot that he has in Patriots
They
lore.
both should be in the Patriots.
He had a
Hall of Fame.
great career for the Patriots.
Yeah.
Great postseason career. The
Yeah.
numbers speak for themselves. This is not to denigrate
No,
Edelman at all.
Not at all.
So Edelman's gonna be eligible, right? Next year. He retired in 2020.
Is
for
that
4
right?
years.
22, 23, 24. He'll be eligible in 25.
Right, which
Yeah,
would be
which would
we're
be the
not
next
vo-
time we
Yeah.
do this.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not even.
Right,
We might
right.
as well not put anybody else on the ballot.
Math.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna
Tough
he's gonna
math.
get 99.9% of the vote.
Tough
Probably.
math for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Certainly when it comes to the fans, he will.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but the room is different because, and I'm talking about the Patriots Hall of Fame nomination committee. It's a group of there's like really old guys that have been here since the early '70s. Used to be some from the '60s.
Then just kind of old guys
Yeah.
like me and Fred.
And then there's some now. They're trying to infuse some younger. Perry from NBC Sports came on
Phil's been coming in
a couple years
last few
ago.
years.
So some of the younger guys are
Me
starting to
and Deuce
get in
still
there.
don't get the invite.
But it's good to have the older representation.
Well, you might get
100%.
it because I have a feeling that when Edelman is the slam dunk at the nomination committee, and I get pissed about that, I might just have to stand up and resign.
Yeah.
So be ready.
No,
Warm up in the
no,
bullpen.
no. Deuce is first in line.
But when somebody stands up in the room and nominates a certain kicker from the 70s and 80s, I'm like, it's like, what are we doing?
yeah,
What are we doing? Like,
yeah,
I'm all for nostalgia, but let's take this seriously.
that's any
Isn't
Hall of
even that
Fame.
good of a kicker.
It's any Hall of Fame. Every Hall of Fame has that guy that's 75 years old that's still saying that the guy in 1950 is the one that
And
should be in the Hall
I
of
have
Fame.
no doubt there are players from the 70s and 80s that were worthy
Yeah.
of Hall of Fame consideration.
It's not over
that
the dynasty guys.
They're not going to get in.
Yeah.
We know why. But to Fred's point, there's a couple that get nominated that they weren't even really good in their era.
Yeah.
Like they were just like on the team and you remember their name.
Yeah, I just feel like, not that I feel like it should be me or anything, but because a lot of Patriots fans are like my age and younger because of how successful they were at the dynasty years, it would be cool to have like some younger blood in that room that can speak for the people that like me that grew up in the dynasty. Like we did not grow up with the 70s and 80s
But
Patriots.
the thing I fear about that is you don't know about the guys before.
Right,
you
which
know?
is why it's good balance though.
Yeah.
That's all.
So
I
it's
think there's too many people in that room.
too many. Yeah. Could be.
Period.
So there's like 30 people now, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we usually get like somewhere between 20 and 30 every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
I'd like to sort of pare that down a little bit.
Paul just wants to vote himself. That's okay.
Well, if it was up to me, there'd be like 4 people in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Fred and I.
Yeah, tough crowd.
Kevin Fogg.
Eric
Matt
from
Moore.
Amherstburg about electric mowers.
I knew it.
The equipment does last 45 to 50 minutes. They advertise. He says an hour, which is true when you're running full tilt.
Correct. That's exactly what the guy said to me.
Yeah.
Right.
I have 2 batteries for each
Because
piece of
if you're
equipment.
Usain Bolt, you can get it in an
Yeah.
hour.
I'm going all electric way better, even with batteries being a little pricey right now. It makes cutting the grass way more enjoyable with how smooth and quiet they are. Yeah. I mean, when you're buying these lawnmowers, you got to look at the CCs. You got to have power, especially if, like, it's growing fast and you only get to mow every 10 days and it gets a little thick. You don't want the blades to slow down, You got to have a lot of power.
You gotta have.
Spend the extra money for the extra power.
So, Fred, you have like a bag,
yeah,
that-
yeah.
Now, do you just let the mulch go?
Sometimes
or do you
I
bag
it depends how I feel, but I don't mow the lawn myself all the time. I have a lot of
You have
lawn.
people that do
I
that.
have people.
Yeah.
And
got a
plus,
team.
no, but my backyard is like straight down. It's a tough mow.
Yeah, I have not seen your current house, but
My current property.
So I did like the first couple of mows of the season. I bagged it, and it I didn't even mean that one. Usually I do those on purpose. And I had to like empty the bag like 3 times, and I was like,
It's a pain in the
screw
ass.
this.
Well, that's the other thing. Like you read different things. They say early in the season you should bag it, but then as you go along, it's
is
good
great.
to not bag it,
Yeah.
mulch it up. Let
That's
it.
what I've heard.
But then in the fall, they say, oh, you got to dethatch and aerate it because all that stuff, keeps the air from going on. So which is it,
Well, when I get I do have people that do the landscaping.
Yeah.
So they replace the mulch beds, give
Yeah.
me a nice fresh edge and all that stuff. So when that first happens, I don't want to just let it fly. I want to bag the clippings because
Yeah.
I don't want them to get in the mulch when
Right,
they
right,
go up
right.
to the edge.
Yeah.
And I get really maniacal. I have this little rake. I come out.
Oh, sure.
And I want to get it all out. Now there's like clumps everywhere.
Well, you can't have the with the dog. The dog it's going to eat all the grass if I did it that way. So you got to be careful.
Got to
All
leave
right.
something for the bunnies in the backyard.
Paul's Food's here. So we've got to take a break. We're going to
Fred's
come
is
back.
too.
More emails and calls here on Patriots Unfiltered.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
What's up, everybody? Matty here. Let's listen to a little bit of Bill Belichick's speech at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Thanks so much. That's such a warm welcome. I can't tell you how much it means to me to come back here and see the great Patriot fans. Thank you. So it was. I tell you, this is hard because for a couple hours, everybody, and rightfully so, everybody has said so many things about Tom, great things about him, and it's just kind of being redundant to go on and on about all the greatness that he's brought to all of us. All of us, the fans, the coaches, everybody who's been involved with him. So I'll try to just, shed a couple personal stories and remarks here. But first of all, I'd say it was a tremendous honor and a privilege for me to, draft Tom and to coach him for 20 years. And it's as we've heard from so many of his teammates, his pursuit of excellence, his work ethic, the drive, the competitiveness, the unselfishness, everything he brought to the team, it was really an honor for me to be involved with that and to be able to work with him every day and learn from it. So I know that we can talk about a lot of his great plays, and honestly, we'd be up here all night. I mean, this thing would, we could go until the middle of next week. But, just a handful of things, and the guys that just were up there, the 82-yard touchdown to Troy Brown in 2003 to beat Miami in overtime, right? I mean, the 59-yard touchdown in the snow to Deion Branch down the sideline in Chicago. Right here on this field, 5 touchdown passes in the second quarter against Tennessee. 3 to Randy, 1 on a flea flicker, and 2 to Wes in 1 quarter. The seam pass to Rob in Super Bowl 53 to set up the winning touchdown. and we can go on. We can go on and on. But, you know, a couple of the plays that I think about that I remember where Tom was like the most excited after the play would be the scramble in Chicago against Urlacher for the first down, the scramble for the touchdown in a Snow Bowl against the Raiders, where honest to God, when he spiked the ball, I was afraid he was going to separate his shoulder. But I think he was a little surprised at some of those plays, but those were awesome plays. And, you know, to watch Tom run and you know, pick up those key first downs and touchdowns and all that, like, I mean, he loved that. He really did. He loved that. But, you know, we talk about all Tom's great plays and go on and on and on. But, you know, I'll just say this. The thing about Tom that I think is so impressive, so unbelievably impressive, and what he did for us for, you know, 20 years, 19 years that he played for us, is he avoided bad plays. He avoided bad plays. And we have a saying, you have a couple sayings here that, you know, I've used with the teams. You know, you can't win until you keep from losing, or more games in the NFL are lost than are won. If you just don't go out there and screw it up, you got a pretty good chance, you know, to win. And with Tom, through his decision-making, preparation, the numbers are just, you know, historical in terms of fewest turnovers, fewest negative runs, fewest offensive penalties. And so when you eliminate, you know, all those plays, and you can stay out of long yardage, and you can keep the ball going forward, and you can keep managing situations, and then that makes, you know, Tom's excellence on third down and in the red area and in long sustained drives, because there were so very few bad plays, way less than any other team in the league, by far. And of all the things that Tom does well, I think the ones that are the thing that's underappreciated, not by the coaching staff, and certainly not by me, but, you know, sometimes people just don't give him enough credit for how very few bad plays he had at quarterback as a team. And, you know, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, absolutely. And, you know, for the quarterback who handles the ball literally on every single play, I mean, other than a direct snap to Kevin Falk or, you know, James White, right? But he literally handles the ball on every play. So every play went through Tom, and there were just so few bad runs, sacks, penalties, turnovers, that the team was never really put in very many bad positions. And I think that's one of of all Tom's great qualities, that's one of the greatest, is he always protected the team, did the best thing for the team, and kept the team out of bad situations. And that really helps everybody else. Now, the one bad decision that Tom did make that I personally saw was not on the football field, but was on the golf course. And Bill Perocki, the CEO of Pebble Beach, invited me to play in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And so I played with Tom, so we're going to force them together. And we're on the 6th hole. And the 6th hole is a long par 5, down a hill, up the hill. The Pacific Ocean's on the right. It's a big cliff. And so, you know, it's a typical Pebble Beach day. Overcast, cloudy, light rain, mist. You know, not typical. And Tom, now again, Pro-Am, keep in mind, you have a pro. So when you hit a bad shot, and I hit a lot of them, you just pick the ball up and play the pros ball. That's what you got a pro for. So you don't worry about double bogeys. You don't worry about triple bogeys. You don't worry about lost balls. It's the pros' job to make a par. So Tom hits his drive, hits his second shot, and the ball's going over to the right, over to the cliff, which goes into the into the Pacific Ocean, and the ball rolls out of sight. And so like, well, it looks like this one rolled into the ocean. And as we walk up there, you don't see the ball. And we get to the edge and look over the cliff, and there's the ball on a ledge over the cliff. And the cliff now is like 250 feet down to the Pacific Ocean, rocks, and the waves are smashing on the rocks. And I look at Tom, and I look at the ocean, and I'm thinking about our starting quarterback, and I'm thinking about our season. And Tom's got that determined, focused, laser-focused Tom Brady look. We all know what that is. And he takes the club and walks down onto this ledge. He's got 1 foot on the side, 1 foot on the grass. It's 250 feet down to the rocks, and pitches it up onto the fairway. And I can see I can see our whole season, just in my eyes there at that moment. And then he needs the caddy to help him launch back up onto the fairway. I mean, he's like down there like 3 or 4 feet, and I'm like, Tom, did you think about maybe just like taking an unplayable lie on that one? And but Tom's made very few bad decisions, on and off the field. I mean, he was a model for consistency, for dependability, and for always, doing the right thing. It was such a great example, for all of us. So
when someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
I'd rather be Damian Harris than Jake Bailey.
No,
How's that?
Damian Harris had barely dressed for games.
I'd rather be him. He's a player. He's a football player.
I know,
He's
but he
not the
doesn't
punter.
play.
I don't care. I'm not a punter. I'm not the, I'm not the butt of everybody's
get
jokes.
a ring. You're still
It makes the team better in practice.
But he asked me which one I'd rather be. I would take either one if I had, to choose between what I'm doing now with you morons or doing. I'd be the punter. But if I had to choose between being a real player and a specialist.
Plus, being the running back for even just 10 plays hurts a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. What do you want? What do you want?
make a lot of
Everything
money.
with no sacrifice, no pain?
Oh yeah.
You're just playing?
All of a
You're
sudden,
just out there
all of a
playing?
sudden, Paul's Newt Rockney over here with the sacrifice.
That's another great moment from
All right, summer's here, and it sure is. We're in the heat dome here in New England. It means it's time to turn off that alarm and sleep in, thanks to that part I don't agree with. Thanks to Bob's Discount Furniture. Save big by bundling Bob's Bobopedic mattresses with your choice of fantastic adjustable bases full of fun features like charging ports, underbed lighting, and Bluetooth speakers. So stop in and sleep better with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. Any of you have adjustable beds that go up?
I do not.
No.
We have a power reclining sofa though.
Yeah.
which is
So I got
nice.
one of the adjustable beds from Jordan's. Well, I shouldn't say that. But another company.
Just did the read.
Another company.
And it's got the under bed lighting. I haven't used it once.
Yeah.
Like, so you wake up in the middle of the night to do your business, right? I'm not gonna find the remote to turn on the light. I know the way to the bathroom, you know. So.
But when we're on the road and you're in a hotel and they have the little lights.
Well,
on
they
the
have
side,
those lights that come on themselves. It's motion sensor.
at the hotel.
Some hotels,
So,
yeah.
when we stayed at,
Fred
Yeah.
stays
we
at.
stayed when we stayed at the Ritz in Denver, maybe.
Yeah.
that
was a little tired, that Ritz.
It wasn't as the one in Dallas. That hotel I think was the nicest one.
Oh,
we
that
stayed
was a
at.
resort.
That place was.
That was a
incredible.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't just a hotel.
I mean,
Arizona-esque.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
place, the one in Dallas was really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you looking forward to getting back on the road?
Is my fiance listening to this or not?
No, it's part of your job.
Yes. You know what? I love it. I do. I do love it because, first of all, just on the work point of view, you can't cover a game when you're not there. Like, it's not the same.
Right.
To try to cover it from home. If you have my responsibilities, like if you're doing what Paul's doing, it's different when you're on the radio.
Take no offense to that.
But
shot a little bit.
Oh, it's rocket. What are you gonna do?
No, when you're doing a radio show, it's still different.
I get it, yeah.
But like when you're writing a story about the game, you got to be there.
Yeah, you do.
got to be there.
Even what I do, like I've done it both ways. Like
Yeah.
during COVID, I couldn't go to every game, and it's not the same. You don't hear and see all the things at home that you do at the stadium. You can only see what they're showing you.
But I get that.
Yeah.
I'm a level a little bit above most.
Yeah, so I found being there really helps me talking to the fans. So that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just
I mean,
locker
I
and all
liked. I looked forward to the road trips all the time. Freddie and I would go out every Saturday night. It was our thing.
Yeah.
I liked it. I mean, I was done with it at the when
I don't
when
like
it was,
the travel part.
Yeah,
but once you're there, it's fine.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
always fun when
Yeah.
you're there.
Yeah.
But when you're writing, at 3 a.m. and you never had to deal with the editing stuff. That was
No, I'm
that was the
lucky.
real
So
hassle.
everything this back in the paper day, which not too long ago, we didn't stop until 2020, but everything would be in, and then you'd have to wait for the layout to come back, and then you'd have to proofread everything.
Yeah.
So you're done with your work, but now you have to proofread everything.
And I don't know if you know, but there's a pretty good chance there's going to be typos when you're on a bus or on a plane.
Oh, I know.
So
Yeah.
the editing process was extensive.
Yeah.
So we hired a proofreader, and he was terrible.
Oh God.
That one guy.
Yeah. Usually when you're on the road, we go right to the locker room and then we go right to the bus. So I'm typing on the bus, and I usually hit publish or tell Christopher to hit publish as the plane is tilting up off the runway.
Yeah.
So you get a chance to travel back home knowing you're done.
It's great. Yes.
We never
had
experienced
that.
That
No, we had another.
Well, you do now.
We had an 8-hour day after the game.
there's a legitimate feeling of just I guess pressure off, relief.
Because you're always what am I going to write
Yeah.
about? What's my angle? Do I have enough support for that angle? And do I have the numbers?
Right.
Am I going to have to look through the book and
That
try to
plane
make
ride
my
home,
point?
once you hit publish,
Yeah.
you're flying on cloud nine.
And then
at
you know
that
what?
point.
What time it is after that? It's Bud Light time, because it's easy to drink, it's easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots, but
Couldn't
not
agree
on the
more.
plane. We're
No,
not
you-
allowed to drink.
No, I
on
was
the
going to
plane.
say you don't.
No,
let me
no
drink
one's
Bud
allowed to
Light
drink
on the
on the
plane.
plane.
No one.
in the NFL.
That's right. Robert writes in. He says, "Thank you, Paul, for saying it out loud. Gillette is not the house that Brady built. The plans were already well underway before Brady was ever drafted. All glory, laud, and honor to the GOAT. But when I heard this phrase during the Hall of Fame ceremony, it rubbed me the wrong way. And Fred, 100% agree with you. Parcells does not belong in the Patriots Hall of Fame."
Good
Yeah,
email.
the stadium was actually being built
Right.
before Tom ever started the game.
Remember, we did the construction yearbook
yeah.
cover
Totally
with
remember.
Bledsoe
Oh,
and
that-
all those guys.
That's
Troy
a
Brown.
legendary
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
It's a bad picture.
I love that picture.
But
It's one
we
of
used
my
to have a lot of fun with those. Fred would set those up, and
Yeah.
remember when we did when Brady did it with his offensive lineman, he was like the
I
president.
think that was a great.
That
I
was
have
a
it on
great
my
cover.
wall.
That was a great cover too.
Good cover. Brian from Salem, Oregon, writes in 3 things. He says: 1, if Scar was inducted to the Hall of Fame without a fan vote, why don't they do the same for Parcells? He more than deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Well,
They could.
they could.
That could happen.
And by the way, we didn't put Scar in. Robert Kraft did.
Well, that's what he just
Yeah.
said.
So
If they just put him in. Why don't they just do that to
contribute.
Parcells?
So we couldn't just say, "Oh, just put Parcells in." Kraft would have to say that because he's considered a contributor. But right now, by the rules, head coaches and players are considered the same. And like you said, Paul, you'd like to separate that out.
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Evan agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, coaches obviously are included, and now owners are
Yes.
included, which I don't like that.
But it's there. Aren't there separate committees that vote on that
Yes.
stuff?
Are they? But they still go into the same Hall of Fame.
They're in that class.
Yeah.
But I think there's like a
Contributor category.
yeah.
But one doesn't. So I get what you're saying. One doesn't take away from the other. So like here, if you put a head coach in, it's going to take the spot of a player.
And I'm not completely well versed on
Yeah.
the Hall of, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but I think it's that group of writers, like the Peter Kings and
Oh,
the world,
and how important are they?
And they vote, on the actual class of players. I don't think they vote on contributors.
No, that's a different.
I think that's a whole
committee.
different
So
committee.
Peter King retired, right?
Yeah, he didn't retire from that. I bet.
Oh, so no, that's my question.
Yeah, I
Does
think-
that mean he's
I think,
retired?
I think Ronnie Borges is still on it.
He is.
And
He
is he
hasn't-
retired?
Yeah. Well, who was he written for?
Well, that doesn't mean he's retired.
I think he's retired.
Okay.
He pitches a lot.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
Patriots.
the Patriots people.
Well, he runs. Well, I haven't seen much of
Don't
from
really
it lately.
understand, but-
He and Rick Goslin, who I think is also a member of the committee, longtime NFL scribe from the Dallas Morning News or the Dallas area. They had that Talk of Fame, I think they called it.
Oh,
network.
right.
I don't know if they still do anything. I used to get a lot of stuff from them. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it. Maybe they're not doing it anymore.
It's boring. How good was Mike Webster? Oh,
Right.
he was good.
Now they're
That's the show.
Those two, it is the show. You're absolutely right.
right.
Those two guys, I would put in the category of they take their job seriously and they do the requisite research.
I kid.
And I think Peter King takes it very seriously. I think you need to make decisions.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's good to split votes.
Yeah. Yep.
And he does that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2 from Brian. Number 43 at Jersey Mike's is the go-to. What's a 43?
I think that's the Chipotle cheesesteak.
Oh, is it?
Oh, I think-
Okay.
Is it not?
I don't know.
Have to look that up.
Look in the app.
Hold, please.
And finally, do you see the defense being more aggressive under Mayo than Belichick, more attacking at the line of scrimmage rather than two-gapping?
Probably not as much as some people would want. I think that they're going to try to keep the bones pretty similar, but they've always fluctuated in year to year. Of some years they were cover zero and they were coming at you, and in other years they were bend don't break. So it was really just about the personnel and how they've felt like it was the best way to utilize the personnel. I mean, 2019 they couldn't have been more aggressive, and the Boogeyman defense led the league in cover zero, led the league in blitz rate, like they were up there and everything. Then you go back to the Patricia years, and it was get into the red zone and then you keep them out of the end zone type of thing. So I think it will probably be still pretty situational, game plan oriented.
Yep.
The 43 is the Chipotle cheesesteak.
Oh, there you go.
It's fantastic.
Wow.
Good sandwich.
Kevin in Dublin, as a soon-to-be homeowner, congratulations, Kevin. I'll soon be buying a television, and I'm on the fence about the size of the television versus the room. I know I shouldn't be getting anything too big, but I'm afraid I can't help myself. What are your guys' thoughts on the TV side versus the room size? Does it matter? Well, I think it does. I think if you're really close to a 65-inch TV, you're kind of killing. It's not good for you, probably. Yeah.
What are you in 1968? Don't sit so close to the
Well,
TV. You
I
go
mean,
blind.
really.
Get cancer. Something.
But
I would say it would probably be hard to see the breadth of the screen if you're up close. But I'm going to defer to. I assume you have thoughts on this technology, right?
I mean, personally, I feel like you don't need anything bigger than a 70-inch TV.
That's a pretty big TV.
If you're
no bigger than a 70. That's a huge TV.
That was very Fred Kirsch.
Yeah.
Right
if you're going above 70, then you're doing
it wrong.
The correct answer is 55 to 60 inches. That's all you need.
But what about the size of the room? See, that's where I was wondering
is there a
about.
ratio?
Yeah.
There's something online where you can say TV to room ratio.
I'm sure
What's
there
the right
is.
size?
I think we have like a 60 or 65 in that range.
Yeah.
And we're not. I mean, we're in an apartment, so we're not far away. But it's a nice size.
I have it's not a big room. I call it the solarium because there's French doors, but there's a little built-in bookshelf.
Yeah.
So I took all the shelves out, and a 55-inch fit perfectly into it.
You got rid of all those books and replaced it with a TV.
I mean,
you're my guy, Fred. That's what
the
I would
way
do.
of the world.
The books are underneath, but it was just made for a 55-inch TV, and to me that's plenty big.
Yeah, I have downstairs. I have a small split level downstairs. I think I have a 65, so the room is decent size. So you can. It's perfect.
There's depth.
And I don't watch
Yeah.
that TV. We used to watch TV down there all the time. And since we redid the upstairs part, I almost never watch down there. That TV is so much better than any other TV in the house, and I feel like I've wasted it.
Yeah.
Because for like the last 5 years, I haven't really.
Well, the TVs now are amazing. Like, remember, you
It's
get
so
a big
nice.
screen, but when you got close to it, it would be distorted.
Oh,
Now,
they don't do that
You go
anymore.
close, and it's just as crisp as if you're further away.
Here's what the
Crazy.
Google machine says. The
Okay.
distance between the TV and the viewer should be at least 1.5 times the diagonal screen size of the TV. For example, if you have a 55-inch TV, the minimum viewing distance should be 82 inches.
Minimum. So
6.8 feet.
So extrapolate that with the size of your room.
There you go. I figured there was a formula out there. I did not know it.
Yeah.
So say 7 feet. It doesn't seem like that far.
Yeah.
So
well,
that
no,
means-
but if you have a bigger room, you're going to be further than 7 feet. So then
Right,
your
but I mean-
TV grows, relatively.
I don't know. I'd have to, I'm trying to think like the size of my room now.
Yeah.
Am I doing it wrong? I don't want to be doing it wrong.
Jack in Inaba, although I am a scientist and believer firmly in the validity and benefits of science, I oppose the use of robot umpires in baseball. Part of the romance of baseball is the human element of umpires who have variable strike zones to which both batters and pitchers must adjust and who are humanly fallible, so that occasionally they make an incorrect call on an extremely close play. What is remarkable is that out of the thousands and thousands of calls made each baseball season, the umps make the correct call 99% of the time. Finally, to whom will an enraged manager argue when he dislikes a call made by a robot? Arguments between managers and umpires are a classic part of baseball. Don't ruin baseball by using robot umpires.
Well, maybe he'll argue with the robot.
I think I don't fall for that argument. I mean, he just said that there's going to be a call in a crucial time that they get it wrong. Why do we want to put up with that?
I think his argument is
why
it's
are we
part
put-
of the
why are we
game,
standing for
and
this?
it's sort of like how do you respond to that is also part of the game.
But I think,
and
like,
whatnot.
That I
out
agree with.
calls, you still need the umps out there for those. But I'm just talking balls and strikes.
Yeah, but I agree
So
with
why
Paul
why are
on
you
that.
not taking it to the next? Like that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But why are you not taking it the next step? Why don't you just have every play at every basis? Just
Well, now you have to have like chips and players' uniform. I don't know how you do
cleats.
that.
And their
a
cleats.
replay.
Well, they have replay, and that's fine.
I know, but you can only use it a couple of times.
Oh,
Like just make every call. I mean, after all, the goal is to get it right, which I can't stand that.
You don't want to
phrase.
get it right.
No, because they don't get it right. Is my point. Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Do you think the guy for the Eagles? No, he won't remember. You will. Do you think the guy
Corey
Clement
Clement?
in the Eagles? Do you think that was a
No.
touchdown? Okay, I do. Did they get it right? He would say no. I would say yes. So they haven't solved the "we just want to get it right" problem.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
No,
that you
and-
think
and I
that
get
was a
that.
touchdown.
No, but like, do you know
No,
what my
no,
point
no,
is? Like,
no, I
let's
do.
let's reverse. Let's say that
Yeah.
you think it was a
Yeah.
catch, and I think it wasn't.
Yeah.
They haven't solved the problem.
They haven't solved that problem. But
It's
when-
one person's
that's,
opinion.
That's
They
why I'm
rarely
saying
change the
because there
rule.
is still subjectivity in some of those replays. But with balls and strikes, there doesn't need to be any subjectivity. It's either it's a ball or a strike. That's it. And you're going to have 3 reviews per game.
I think there is
well,
subjectivity to a ball
again,
and strike.
if there's a final arbiter and it's automated, then just use it all the time.
See, I think that your tennis argument is black and white.
Right.
It's either on the line or it's not.
either in or out.
I don't think that balls and strikes are that.
No, it is. It's either
See, but
in
I
the
don't
strike
think-
zone or it's out.
But I don't think that you could do that for like inside and outside the plate. Like
Yeah.
it's either on or off the plate.
Right.
That I can say. But I don't think the height is. I don't think that
It
that's,
is if
I don't
you-
think that's a finite
again,
spot.
if you-
like this is a strike.
No, it is.
This is a ball. I don't think it's like that in baseball.
It can be.
'Cause it
What I'm
depends on
saying,
the
you
pitch
customize
and
to
the
the person
trajectory.
when you come in there, the whatever it is that
Like a curveball
determines
or
the
something.
strike zone
it's
is
not the same as a fastball.
changes depending on whether it's Paul or Evan up, and that's it. It's either in or out.
Sweeper.
It's either in or out.
The sweeper, which is
Might touch the outside of the plate.
I'm call it whatever you
I
want.
want him to just yell at
But
me.
a sweeper back in my day was called a slurve.
Well-
and now we call it a sweeper.
Well, back in my day, it's either a sinker or a curveball. That's it.
Well, we called it a slurve. Now it's a sweeper. Whatever.
Slider.
Slider.
And
It all comes down to arm angle.
And every time somebody throws a breaking
all ball
now,
bearings
it's a
nowadays.
sweeper.
Yeah. Slot, arm slot.
Sweeper. It kind of looked like a curveball to me. I don't know.
Ethan from Vermont. in the spirit of Jaws being released 49 years ago today.
Oh,
49 years ago
what
today.
A great
have
day.
your-
What a great day.
What are they
That's
gonna
why-
do next
That's
year?
why Deuce is off.
Yeah,
So
liar. He's out
so
there
6/20/2025 is the 50th anniversary
Yay.
of Jaws.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do for that? Are you gonna come in with a
I'm going to assume
shark
that we're
head?
going to be in the new studio when we're doing the show.
I know, but like, are you gonna celebrate it at all?
Deuce will.
Yeah.
He'll wear
If Deuce gets something going, I would
Okay.
support it.
What are the new movies that you're excited
doing the yearbook.
to see? For me, I'm excited about Deadpool 3. I know the Marvel movies aren't everyone's favorite, but maybe Matt will share my excitement.
I do, but get the title right. It's Deadpool and Wolverine, not Deadpool 3.
Come on.
That's true. It is.
Yeah, you
Deadpool.
guys, I mean, you guys are all fans of those movies.
Sure.
I'm the only one that's...
No, the Deadpool movies are
No,
incredible.
Marvel, I'm getting a little tired of.
Yeah,
You know,
I haven't
with
seen
this
anything.
whole multiverse and all that. It's like there's no guardrails. There's no rules.
I haven't seen anything since.
So you don't have
the
to worry
last
about anybody
Avengers.
dying because with the multiverse, they can come back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan.
You know? The multiverse takes away the rules. You have to have rules.
Chris Evans is coming
Like,
back.
I would
because of
love
that.
to make fun of that
Like,
comment, but I can't. It makes a
Vampires
lot
are
of sense.
powerful, but if you get the stake in the heart, they die. So there's
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I agree
Rules
with
of
you.
engagement.
Yeah.
We go in and we operate under a certain premise that this is silly.
Yeah.
And now you just take it to the theater of the absurd. Like, there are no
Yeah.
rules.
Right.
Like, I kind of agree with you on that.
I also just, I know this might be unpopular, but all the Star Wars stuff, it's lost me.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
I
lost.
mean, a
It's
lot
too
of
much.
people are criticizing Acolyte. I've seen the first 2 episodes. I thought it was okay.
It's just
It was
there's too
okay.
It's just hard to keep up with all of it. There's
Yeah.
just too
Serious
many
question
things.
for you.
Yeah.
Are there any of the movies, which I don't know, is there 6 of them? 9 of them? 9? How
9.
many? 9.
9.
Well,
Any
yeah.
of the 9 that you didn't like, that you
Nine.
like flat out thought were bad?
Well, there were parts of some that I thought were bad.
Matt Morrell, if you can hear me.
I actually agree with Fred. Like, the casino scene in The Last Jedi just didn't need to exist.
Yeah, like what was
So
that all
you-
about?
But neither one of you will go so far as to say The Force Awakens was terrible.
No,
Or
absolutely
whatever.
not.
whatever.
The Force Awakens was great.
No.
That one
I
was
just
actually
threw
good.
that one out there because I
No.
knew that
The last
was
new
one
one.
of them.
The
was-
Last Jedi is what everybody is.
The
all
Last
about.
Jedi
Okay.
is the last one, right, Matt? That one.
Yeah.
That one was trash.
And
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed The Last
trash.
Jedi
Okay,
besides
see,
the casino
trash,
scene.
according to Evan.
And I'm
I
like,
look forward to the podcast with Matt and Evan on that one.
I'm like as big of a Star Wars nerd as everybody, but trust me, when I like that, I just felt like was not a good movie.
yeah.
I was sitting there in the theater, and then like Palpatine comes back, and like I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like this is just crazy.
Yeah.
But Force Awakens was
I like when Fred
objectively
Fred
good.
sort of like he gets like a disappointed look on his face.
No, it's hard
Yeah,
to be
no,
so.
it's hard to defend that one.
Yeah.
Well, the Acolyte retconned all the new movies anyway, so we're good.
Okay. What does that mean?
I don't
know.
They
Retcon?
basically erased the history of what it meant with Palpatine and Anakin.
How so?
Lesbian space witches are using the Force to make babies now.
Lesbian space witches are using the Force to make babies.
This is what I'm talking about. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Like I just want to watch the original 3, and that's all.
Well, listen.
Like, I'm just gonna keep watching those for the rest of my
Watch
life.
episode 3, Fred. Watch episode 3.
Oh, I haven't seen 3.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, we're all
I
in
just
trouble
picture
if you can do that.
Morel,
All men.
Morel on the message boards, you know.
Yeah.
You know, the lesbian.
Well, it's funny because when I was a kid, when Phantom Menace came out, that was my first Star Wars movie that came out when I was alive, and everybody trashed it. Now,
Yeah.
it's like hell. It's like, oh no, Phantom Menace was amazing. Like this, is, all of a sudden,
Was that amazing?
Yeah,
It was good. It wasn't great. Yeah, it was good.
I didn't see any of those.
Yeah.
The dialogue stinks in all of them, but especially that one. But the last, hour or so, like the Darth Maul duel and the whole battle at the end of Phantom Menace is
that the one that you
peak
made
Star
the
Wars.
intern stand in line and wait for tickets?
No, but that is the one where I was a hero in the movie theater, and I'll tell you how. I went on
Just like the Jedi.
I don't know if it was opening day or the first week it was out. Went to a matinee, so it's sunny out. We're in the theater, and we're watching the movie, and this asshole, and I'll say it, decides that not only am I going to take a call during the movie, I'm going to go to the back exit door and prop it open and hang out by the door with the light coming in.
Oh no!
So like a minute goes by, he's still there. Fine, and everyone's like, brr. I get up, and I go down there, and I said, "You're either in or out." And he didn't know what to say, and I shut the door and locked him out. And
Love that.
everybody applauded. I was a hero
You're-
for that movie.
You're
And then no
Obi-Wan.
one could figure out, how to pick up the plot because
Yeah.
it was
But
too,
it had
too
to be
intense.
done. This guy, like what kind of idiot does that?
That's over the top.
Like if you have to, you go out to the lobby.
That's over the
You
top.
don't go
rude.
and prop the door open with the light coming in and
I
a
don't even
matinee.
understand at that point. Just answer the call in the theater without propping the door open. Like,
So
I-
which of the Star Wars was the one that, because this was before I was working for you, so which was the one that you made the intern go wait in line for you guys?
I don't know. I don't. So
That's
it would.
before
So
you were
no.
working
So
for
let's
If it was
let's put
before
a time on it.
you
We
were
were in
working here.
Walpole, so it was
Phantom Menace.
1999.
It was before Walpole.
That must have been Phantom
No,
Menace.
no, we were at the FEC.
Yeah,
We were at
probably.
the horse track.
Yeah.
So
But
that
it
was
this was a story I heard when I started. Like
so that was 1999.
Okay. Well, which one was that?
I feel like
Phantom
that-
Menace.
Phantom Menace.
Oh, that
Phantom
was
Menace,
Phantom
so it was
Menace.
Phantom
Okay,
Menace.
so then I was a hero at another one.
The Clone Wars came out in Attack of the Clones. I'm sorry, came out in 2022.
Yeah.
2002. Jeepers.
2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My years.
Yeah. No.
All right. Good stuff.
Everybody thinks it's amazing now. I don't know. When I was a kid, everybody trashed it. So.
The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
think they like the guy with the red face and the dual.
Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dual lightsaber.
He's fantastic. Good
Yeah.
character.
But he dies.
He doesn't.
Oh, he doesn't.
No, he comes back.
He comes back.
He's got spider legs now.
Oh.
Yeah.
You upset about that?
What, is he? He's in the Acolyte. What, no.
No,
that was
so
after.
he comes back in Solo. Originally, I believe.
And
it's
he's
the
also
first time.
in the Clone Wars, the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Clone Wars. I'm not into the animation ones.
No.
Yeah.
So he got the movie Solo that was just
Yeah,
the Han Solo origin
I saw
story.
that. Yeah.
So he comes at the end of that. They reveal that Darth Maul somehow Jedi mind tricked his way back to life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Anthony writes in, the Welker disrespect is so infuriating to me, and I fear he will never get into the Hall. The drop, he has it in quotes, will forever overshadow what was an almost unmatched career as a Patriot receiver in the mind of too many idiots. Edelman was great and should be in the Patriots Hall, and Welker was even better. Do you think they will wait to put Parcells in posthumously?
Well, posthumously.
Posthumously.
I don't know about the last part, but I think he's right. I think Edelman will get in, and if Edelman, Edelman's going to be up, he's going in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right away.
Lock.
And I have some concerns. And this isn't, I usually am critical of the fans on these things because I think they sort of get a little bit, like, they take it personal that he didn't catch that pass against the Giants. But this has nothing to do with the fans.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
He can't even get on the ballot. I can't get him on the ballot.
Yep.
Stacey James called me after the meeting, the first time, to thank me for doing it and to apologize that no one shared my view. He came in fourth both times.
Wow. Max writes in from Santa Barbara. I really enjoy when Fred and Paul poke at each other.
So do I.
I'm with Fred on Parcells. He was busy negotiating with the Jets instead of getting the team ready for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Paul.
I'm with Paul that Gillette is the house Drew built, but Brady furnished it. Great show
Correct.
as always. As John Lennon once said, shine on.
Good email.
Yeah, that's
Solid.
true. He
Rock
did buy the
solid
furniture.
Yeah.
Rock solid email.
Yeah, he did the decorating.
From Bob's.
Yep.
Not the other place.
Well, another store.
Paul, this is Adam from Louisiana. The guy
up,
was
Adam?
right. I got the Toro electric push mower, and I always have a small patch left in my backyard. I have a 1/3 acre lot. They claimed it can cut a ½ acre on one charge. The biggest factor I find is how tall the grass is. In South Louisiana, we get a lot of rain, and the grass grows like crazy, so it's almost twice weekly we have to cut it. The Milwaukee electric has good reviews. I'm tempted to buy it.
So when I'm curious on your method, your technique.
Yeah.
Are you go down a strip, back down the same strip, and then go the next one, or do you go down and then come back?
Well, no.
He has to sniff though.
So
what's the sniff for?
What I do is I do the boundaries, so I have a turn radius, no matter where I am, and then I go up and back, up and back, up.
But
and
do you
back.
like repeat the same? So do you
like
go
a
up for one
Zamboni.
swath and then come back the same swath and then go up?
Oh no.
So you go up and then back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're doubling your time if you repeat.
Well, you do around the perimeter and then
Get a
up and
better
down.
What?
Get a better cut.
A better cut?
Yeah, my next door neighbor makes fun of me all the time.
Yeah.
You're doing double the work. I go,
Well, what I do is I
look at mine.
Who's sniffing
And I look at his.
No, what I do though on alternate days, if I go one way, I'll go the other.
I do
way.
that all the time.
Yeah.
But that's just for my own enjoyment.
Yeah. Now
I'm like Joe Mooney at
So
Fenway.
one time this is not in my current place, but the house before, I said, you know what, I'm going to do circular. So I went around, and and at the end of the mowing the lawn, my neck hurt because I was looking.
That's the
like,
frettest thing ever.
I was looking, right the whole way, and my neck hurt from doing circular.
Well, that's the way you described it first is how they do Zambonis do the ice.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm very fascinated by Zambonis.
Yeah.
And
I used to be, not anymore. Now it's
Yeah.
like, get them out of there.
No,
It takes too long.
And they go
Now
around
they put
the
two on
outside.
it. I mean, it's like they're not even doing it anymore.
Is it time to upgrade that technology, by the way?
How do you do that?
I don't know. But it seems like they've been using the same device for that forever.
Yeah.
Like, is there a faster way and a more efficient way to?
Well, they put two out at a time.
Yeah, they do that now.
Two.
They do two at the Garden at least.
There should probably be some device that comes from the ceiling, one straight across the ice. It just goes from one end to the other, right?
Like a robot.
That could be the new invention.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, it's
I don't go to a lot
pleasing.
of Bruins games, but I went to one last year, and I didn't realize how show-offy those ice people are.
Oh, yeah.
That
The guy-
take
the-
care of the ice.
the ice
They're all
scraper-
like
the
zipping
scraper
around
guys.
and doing their toe drag stops and everything like that.
There's one guy that comes flying out, he's going backwards.
You know who would be like that is Deuce.
Oh, yeah.
If Deuce was on there, he'd be doing.
But they all love
pirouettes.
to. That's their time to shine. They
Yeah.
go out there and they show off their skating.
What'd you say,
skills.
Matt?
I think he played
Hardo.
drop.
Hardo.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I find it very.
Well,
very
you don't see that
soothing
on TV.
To
You
watch
know?
No, you got to be there
Zambonis.
for that.
Right. What's that?
I find it very soothing to watch the Zamboni in intermission.
Yeah. What do they call that? Strangely satisfying
Yeah,
things or
yeah.
It's
whatever.
like that. What's the AS?
Yeah.
MR?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
The sound.
Yeah.
ASMR, you got it.
Yeah.
It's one of those. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not sound,
Yeah.
but it just kind of puts you in a place.
Yeah.
It is
Soothing.
fascinating.
It's very
the-
soothing.
The difference between going to a Bruins game and going to a Celtics game
Oh,
could not be more different.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
We all agree, I think, that mowing your lawn is pleasing.
Well,
There's
Evan's never done it.
There's a
so he
certain
can't
satisfaction of doing
I was
it.
hoping that wasn't going to come back.
Why don't men feel the same way about vacuuming?
I don't hate vacuuming, but I don't do it like I
Yeah.
do mowing the lawn.
Yeah, I maybe because you don't see it as much.
So you don't get to see the lines
the
afterwards.
result as much. Yeah,
And
but
you don't pop open a beer and show it
You
off
don't-
to the
you don't feel
neighbors.
that.
But the way I look at it is like, I don't mind vacuuming, although I don't do it as much as I should. But like to me, it's like kind of the same satisfaction. Like all this stuff is gone now. I got rid of it, and taking the garbage out is another thing. I'm removing my house of all this stuff, and somebody is going to take it away. And I
Something to
like
do with OCD,
I like the
Fred.
thought of that.
Yeah, it is just frightening how similar we can be on random things. It's not so much like getting rid of like taking it out, but like especially if I had a particularly heavy trash week.
Yeah, yeah.
If we had a party or something, I love watching when they come.
Yeah.
And then they take it, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, right.
They took that bag.
They
that
came.
bag
All right,
bag that I
great.
needed 2 hands to get out there.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they took. Because sometimes
it's gone.
You never know. Like
Yeah.
there's restrictions depending on where you are, and
Yeah.
like in my city, they recently changed companies, and every once in a while they won't take something.
Right.
So when I know I have like a bunch of crap to get rid of,
Yeah.
it is so satisfying to actually.
It's
like,
gone.
I'll turn the corner when I get home from work that day, and there's nothing there, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
When I first moved into the house, like for a while, like the first few weeks, I had a lot of like empty cardboard boxes that I was throwing out, and like I was like that every time. Oh, they took it. Thank good. One day I get the call from the guy. Hey, you're putting out a lot of extra stuff, and I'm like, I had to explain that that'll stop eventually.
Yeah. When I'm done.
Yeah. Right.
I've been
Jordan,
trying to get rid of paint lately.
ooh,
it's
that's
not
a tough
easy.
one.
It's
Oil
not
based
easy.
or water based?
What do you think is easier to get rid of?
Well, I would think water based.
Yeah, it's not.
It isn't.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. They had a specific day in early June, and it was for oil-based paints only. And I'm like, who has oil-based paints now?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how I
So,
feel.
yeah, I had a lot of old paint from when we first moved in, and we
Yeah.
painted the whole house. And finally, we just because of that, we were like, let's figure out what's good, what's not good. I had probably 15 to 20 different gallons, plus 2 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
So I had it all in the garage. It was all ready to go, and that's when we realized it was oil-based paints only.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, well, I've come too far. I'm getting rid of this. So slowly but surely, a couple of gallons in the trash.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
And I've been.
What you do is
I have 1 5-gallon drum left. Everything else is gone.
This is what you do. If you're in the same
put some in a dumpster.
This is what you do, Paul.
If you're in the same dilemma that Paul is, you have a whole bunch of gallons of paint, you need to get rid of it. So you have to be patient. You're not going to do it all at once, but you go to the hardware store and you buy those construction size garbage bags, the big ones, and then 2 gallons a week.
Yeah, contractor bags.
Yeah.
I get them at. You can get them at Home Depot.
You put those. You put all your other garbage in there, but you mix in 2 gallons at a
Lowe's,
time.
I don't want to.
And over time, you'll get rid of everything.
So if you really want to do it the right way, what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Like, because usually, the gallon of paint doesn't have a ton of paint in it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's half or whatever. You put some like kitty litter in it, and it dries it.
Oh.
And you can either dispose that.
Oh.
And then it's an empty can.
Right.
Or it sort of dries it up and there's no.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, environmental threat, I guess. Because I think that's like the paint. They don't want it all over the place. But I didn't really bother doing that.
Just find a pond and throw it in.
We did the whole upstairs with the same color
Peter.
when we first moved in. So I had a 5-gallon drum and then a 5-gallon drum of primer. And the primer is like 2/3 full, so it's really heavy. I'm never going to be able to throw that away.
Yeah.
It's just too heavy. So I don't know what to do with that.
No,
that's all I have.
The contractor bag. It's a big bag. They expect it to be heavy.
It's too heavy. I'm just telling you, it's too heavy.
Okay.
This is fascinating stuff.
All right.
I did take a trip near where I live, and I found a dumpster. Like I was searching for dumpsters.
That's
and I'm
illegal,
like,
Paul.
And I'm looking. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a camera at that one. And I found one that I was pretty. Knock on wood, I haven't heard anything yet. And it was a contractor bag.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I just dumped like paint into that. It was tied up in a contractor bag. I had like 4 or 5. And I put it in.
What if you dress up like a homeless person and do it? Then they'll leave you alone.
It's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
It's like when you're in high school, you had to get rid of the booze and go around, drive around.
That's how I got caught with my party, right?
You throw
I
it
had
away
like
in a dumpster.
three bags. I had 3 bags of empties on the side of my house.
Oh, yeah,
my father comes home. It's like,
what's this?
He thought Rich had a party.
Oh.
And my mother goes, "What makes you think it's Rich? He's 21. He can do whatever he wants."
Right. Jordan in Hawaii. I feel like we're in a pretty good off-season time now that between camps. So I wanted to revisit Evan's view on Pam from The Office.
This is really the most popular hot
this
take
is your
I've ever
best
had.
contribution to the show right here.
And see what everyone else thinks. Personally, I think that Pam is one of the best characters in the show. She follows her heart. She's friendly and a good friend to everyone, including Michael and Dwight. And when it comes to her taking time for herself and following her art dreams, I commend her for that. Now let's hear this hot take, Evan.
I've already said my piece on Pam. Yeah. I personally, it starts off on a bad foot with her when she emotionally cheats on Roy. And you can think what you want about Roy, but cheating is cheating in my book, whether he was a good guy or a bad guy, still not good. Last night we watched the episode, though, where Jim buys his parents' house for them, and she, her reaction at first is, you think that she hates it, and then, she loves it at the end. It's a wholesome moment. So I'll give her, she's got her moments. She's got her moments.
Let's see. L writes in, Bill Parcells is a lot like Randy Moss to me. Did awesome things while he was here, but it was short, and he made his way out of town. I don't think either should be in, but I think if Parcells goes in, then Moss should be a shoo-in.
I think that's a good argument.
That's fair.
Even though it's against me, I think that's a good argument.
Both
not
made
long
Super
enough.
Bowls.
Yeah.
I get it.
Let's see. Bill in Vista, California. To correct Matt and Evan, the retcon with Palpatine. Actually, what does retcon mean?
It just means they're rewriting the storyline, the canon.
Okay, the retcon.
The original, the source material.
What is it? What does retcon stand for? What is it short for?
That's a good question. Let me Google it.
Okay, get us that
Just
answer.
going to throw terms around that we don't know what mean. Okay.
Know what it means. I just don't know what it stands
for.
for.
Work in the business world.
The retcon with is it reconstruction? I don't know. Anyway, the retcon.
Retroactive continuity.
Retroactive continuity. Okay.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. The retcon with Palpatine actually took place already in the canon Darth Vader comics. It had already established that Palpatine had used the Force to create Anakin. People are just upset about it just to be upset about it.
No, we knew that they used the Force to make Anakin, but they led you to believe that the Emperor was the only one that was able to do that, that he was the only one strong enough with the Force to be able to impregnate Shmi with Anakin. Now they got these witches under a full moon chanting, and they could just impregnate everybody. They retconned what made Anakin special.
So
Anakin is like the baby Jesus. In Star
he was supposed to be the baby Jesus, basically.
Yeah,
yes,
certainly sounds that way.
Shmi did not have a significant other. Anakin just appeared in her belly.
I got it. Okay.
And based off of the comics, based off the canon, is that the Emperor with the Force was able to put.
I mean, that's all revealed in Rise of Skywalker in the last movie.
Was able to impregnate.
Yeah. What are you, stupid?
Yeah.
But I also have I'm sorry, to the email right now, I'm gonna be kind of mean. I have a problem with the people who are like, well, the comics. Guess what? 90% of us haven't read the comics.
No, I don't.
Okay, so we all watch the movies because they're awesome, but we're all not going back to the source material. It's like the same with the Game of Thrones people that are like, well, in the books, it's like I don't care.
I mean,
about the
rarely
books.
are the book and the movie completely aligned, right? In anything.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of they're based on or whatever. There's always differences, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that why so many people say the book was better?
Yeah.
To Evan's point, I think the people that generally say that are intellectuals.
No, Paul,
that's
not true.
Because you don't, I don't lower myself to watch a movie.
That's not true. That's not true. I do
a lot
both.
of people, I think, that
a lot of times
you are an avid reader, so I would trust your opinion because I know that you're actually reading a lot of these books, and I know you watch a lot of the movies.
Right.
Game of Thrones, I feel like, is a little different because that's a book. We're talking about
comics and books.
Yeah,
right.
It's a little different.
Not the same thing.
Yeah.
Any of you MASH fans? Donald Sutherland just passed away.
Oh, really?
We're in a little bit of a run.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say it comes in threes. So Willie Mays. We didn't talk about Willie Mays, by the way.
True. Say hey, kid.
That's 93 years old. Yeah.
Good run.
I'll tell you, when I used to
Good
collect
run.
baseball cards, and I know everyone's rookie card is tough, but just a normal run, it was tough to get a Willie Mays card.
Willie Mays was not in the cards when I was collecting.
In the 60s. You know, when I was a kid.
You're a little older than me.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You know, even when he
born
became
in 68, I wasn't collecting
Even when he
cards.
became a Met, I couldn't get my hands on a Willie Mays card.
What do you think about people that think Willie Mays is the best baseball player?
I think
of all
it's a
time?
valid argument.
Yeah. I think
I
think you can make
look
an
at
argument for it.
all the things he did.
Yeah.
You know, like there was a stat recently, like he's the only player with 300 plus home runs, 3,000 hits, 300 stolen base, like all these numbers where no one else has all those things
and
in
he
those
played
categories.
in the 50s, right? Like 50s, 60s.
Well, he started in the 40s.
Yeah, so at least he was in the. He was
50s,
past the dead ball
yeah,
era.
yeah.
And like
51.
obviously, black players were allowed to play in the league.
No,
at
he
that
was in
point.
the Negro League in the 40s.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking major leagues.
Yeah.
But that's the big problem with not Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, like those
Yeah,
players.
it was a different time. That's
And-
why.
right.
That's why I still think Babe Ruth is the best because he was hitting a dead ball. You know,
Yes,
60
but there
home
was
runs.
Also,
yeah,
there was no black people in the league.
that's
so
true.
that's
That's
the
true.
big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jeffrey in Canada, I'm glad for you the Celtics won, but please can we focus on soap washing machines and bad movie sequels? That's what we're doing. We're doing everything.
Absolutely.
today.
We're here for you.
I love the sport of basketball, especially live, but the NBA is a total bore on TV. You watch the first 5 minutes and the last 5 minutes. Everything in between is a waste of time. What makes the other sports so much better is the fact anything can happen at a moment's notice. In basketball, the same things just keep happening over and over. Sports postseason in order of best viewing, in his opinion. NFL 1.
He's from Canada. We should put
NHL
that-
2.
Yeah, we should put that in perspective.
International Soccer 3. Major League Baseball 4.
International soccer.
NBA 5. And then sent from my iPhone a 6.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
right.
I would actually go NHL 1. I was
Yeah,
surprised, and I
yeah,
was surprised
but
being a guy
obvious,
from
yeah.
Canada that he didn't pick that one.
We watched the end of the Oilers Florida game the other night, Game 5.
Did you see the play? I mean, I know I hate Kachuk, but did you see that play?
Yeah, it was a bad call.
No. I'm talking about him saving the goal. And the
Oh,
empty
yeah.
netter.
I thought you were talking
That was a
about the
ridiculous
embellishing
play.
call. Oh, that was the thing I was going to say earlier when we were talking about the Celtics going down to Miami. That doesn't bother me at all, but apparently Jason Tatum and Kachuk
are friends.
Or wait, they went to high school together.
Oh, yeah.
I guess. And they were like, Jason Tatum gave him a shout out on Twitter before Game 5, being like, "Do what I did, finish it off tonight," or something
That
like that.
bothered you?
It didn't bother me, but I know it bothered a lot of
Did you
Bruins
see?
fans.
So you might have been at the game. I don't know if you went to. They had a picture of the two of them on the school bus.
Yeah.
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 That was making the
Yeah,
rounds.
they
showed it in one of the games.
I can understand if you're a Bruins fan if that.
I don't
irks
like.
you a
I don't
little
like
bit.
Kachuk.
Yeah.
I didn't really like his father, to be honest with you.
Mike from Arlington, now living in New Jersey. Gentlemen, please do not do those somewhat illegal and non-environmental friendly statements that you've been making, even if they're in jest. The correct way is
all in jest.
The correct way is to
far
go
as
to
you know.
Home Depot and buy latex paint, harden or mix it into the can. You only need one $3 hardener package per gallon, then throw the entire gallon away when the paint has hardened.
Okay.
How is that any different than throwing it when it's wet?
Especially
It's
the
the
paint.
same-
The paint that I'm throwing away isn't wet.
Yeah.
It's like 25 years old.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't need to deal with paint.
But he's right. That's what you're.
That's what you're supposed
That's
to
what
do.
you're supposed to do.
Got it.
I got the neighbor that burns everything.
Oh.
Plastic, everything.
See,
Oh.
now
That's-
that is
But-
bad.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's
Even I would say,
put
and
a
I
hole
don't
in
care
the
at all
wall
about the
there.
environment.
Matt,
that's bad.
That must be an awful smell.
It is horrible when he does it.
It's always the guy that burns the leaves too, and it ends up. With
I don't mind leaf.
Yeah, but it ends up with like a blaze in the background.
The ashes are coming into my yard though when he's doing
Well,
that.
you're not supposed to burn leaves. You can
No.
burn brush and stuff, but not leaves.
Yeah, but people burn. Leaves.
I know they burn everything.
They do it. They do it.
I got a guy across the street.
It's those dope smokers.
He's
Freddie.
got his main driveway,
They're
which
up
is
to no
paved,
good.
but then he's got this back road, which is all dirt, and he keeps putting down wood chips, and every time it rains, the wood chips just drain right out into the street. He doesn't get it. It's like, it's not going to work. How many times are you going to do this? He keeps doing it, and it keeps just running right out.
It's not gonna work.
Just keep it dirt or pave
He
it.
suddenly sounds like Capello.
Yeah, but like first time you look at it and go, oh, that didn't work, and you don't do it again. He keeps doing it. Let's see.
Don't ever change, Freddie.
Dan in Virginia in Michigan. I
Nice.
wanted to respond to Fred's comment about men not taking satisfaction in vacuuming. One time after vacuuming, I realized I could really tell the difference between before vacuuming and after. I also realized that on some level, I appreciated that. Right after that, I realized that I had indeed reached the lame, boring part of adulthood.
Yep.
Have you all had a similar moment?
Yep.
If so, what was that moment?
Too many to count.
Now all the time
Yeah.
because you're over 30. You're downhill from here.
By the way, the whole vacuum, that's a discussion. Like what type of vacuum you should get.
That's really true because we got one of those like stick ones,
Ugh.
and it's not good.
Crap.
It's crap.
It's all about power.
It really is not good.
What do you get? You got a Dyson?
Mealy.
Mealy.
He always has some off-brand. That's the best.
It's not off.
And
It's,
then he
it's German made, and if you know vacuuming, you know Mealy.
Yeah. And there we are.
Also, what?
But I agree with Dan. You get to that point. When I was a kid, that was one of the things I had to do all the time. I always had to cut the grass.
Yeah.
Cut the grass and cut the hedges. And
Yeah.
I've told this story a million times on air. I hated it so much. My brother told me, just do a terrible job and Dad will stop asking you to do it.
Yeah.
And so I did. Like I cut the hedges like really crooked on purpose. And he comes home from work. He goes, thanks for getting that done today. That's one less thing I had to do. You did a great job. And I went in, and my brother's laughing because my brother tried the same thing, and my father did the same thing to him.
That's
and
funny.
he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
He set me up. And I hated it. I hated doing it every time.
You don't like the hedges?
The hedges were hard.
Yeah.
You know, the hard part
You
about
gotta
the
get
hedges.
level.
But that's not hard.
Oh.
The cleanup is hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you just cut the grass, you're done.
Right.
You know, the hedges, then they're all there, then you got to pick them up, and then they poke through the bag. It's a whole thing.
Well, just burn them.
Right.
Evan.
Yes.
It's not that The Phantom Menace was bad and is now good. It's that since The Phantom Menace, we have been subjected to the third trilogy, and The Phantom Menace looks so much better in comparison. Yes, Paul, I'm one of those people who will say that the last trilogy was a series of epic failures and errors in concept, story, characterization, and dialogue.
I don't disagree with that last. Force Awakens was great, but it was nostalgic. It was basically just the very first original Star Wars told again in a different way. The second and third one out of the new ones were tough.
No apologies needed for me. I haven't seen any of the last.
The truth is, people like Deuce hated the prequel trilogy, but Evan and I were young when it came out, so we grew up enjoying this. That's why we're loud and proud now about them. That's why everybody likes it. People grew up.
Because you're a trendsetter.
You got it.
Good job.
I watched Phantom Menace, Matt. I had it on VHS, and I watched it probably 100 times, growing up, and I thought it was awesome.
I remember when I first saw it, I'm like, okay, this one's a little different in that they're getting into more of the politics.
Yeah.
It was a little bit like at a higher level.
Yeah.
Like, where some kids might be bored a little bit at some parts of it.
I wasn't bored because the battle scenes.
Yeah, they were good.
You have the pod racing scene. You have the scene when they're in the little submarine thing and they're going through, and then they have the whole thing on Naboo with the whole battle. It's all just fantastic. But Matt's right. Now we're the ones that are the voices.
Is Phantom Menace the one with Jar Jar Binks?
Yes.
Yeah, see, that was a failure.
Well, so yeah, a lot of people hate Jar Jar.
It was a terrible character.
That was a failure.
Yeah.
It's fine.
He made me laugh.
Yeah. Let's see. Andrew in Louisiana, or L.A., I'm sorry. The reason why the Celtics went to Miami is because they wanted to show Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo what a Larry O'Brien trophy looks like.
Fair.
And also, we all knew there was going to be a heat wave in Boston, and no one wants to party in 100 degrees. You don't think it's 100 degrees in Miami?
It's a different 100.
Oh.
Different 100.
Yeah, it's a wet. It's
more humid.
worse.
Speaking of Bam Adebayo, though, I got my eye on him.
Oh, do you?
In a good way.
Do you now? Little
little
zingy insurance.
Brad Stevens, they're going to Jason Tatum and Drew Holiday and probably Derek White too. Going to go play for Team USA in the Olympics. Usually they send them with, hey, maybe go recruit.
Bring this guy back.
Go recruit this guy.
Is he up? He's up.
I don't know about his contract situation, but that thing in Miami's falling apart.
Can be. They're about at the end of the road.
Yeah.
One more email, then we're going to call it a show. This is Thomas in San Diego. I plan on attending my first Patriots game this year and will be staying in Boston. Could you guys please give me your restaurant recommendation for the best lobster rolls in the area?
Oh.
Really have to go to the Cape, don't you?
Yeah, like downtown Boston is tough.
That's not a big lobster roll place.
I would say Bark and Crab is like the most popular one, but that's kind of touristy at this point.
I would go one of the either go north or south.
Yeah,
I don't know the ones down south. I mean, we know Essex is where you're going to the North Shore, Woodman's and those kinds of places, but I'm sure that they have the same things on the South Shore.
Yeah.
I just am not familiar with those the names of those places, but I agree. I've never really heard anybody say, I want a great lobster, I'm going to go into the city.
Right.
No.
I mean, if you want lobster, just stick with legal seafood. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Is Turner's still in Copley Place?
I don't think so.
No. That was a good one.
Yeah, I haven't really been to Copley too recently, but I don't think so.
Also, in a recent show, you guys weren't sure where Vista, California was. It's in the northern part of San Diego County. So there you go.
That's Deuce's responsibility.
Yeah, if Deuce doesn't know you, then are you really even from California?
Yeah, exactly.
Vista
All right,
the views.
That's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered, a Dog Day edition. We'll be back. You guys will be back next week. I'm on vacation next week.
Oh, very nice.
So I won't be here.
For you. Is Deuce back?
Yes.
Because Evan and I don't host.
No.
So
do that.
Guys will be back here in the Temp studio next week. They'll talk to you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.